What's up, Ellie? Come on. Come here. Hey, come here. Come on. My PC shut off, bro. Literally, my PC just turned off on its own. I don't know what the fuck happened. Now, let me quickly check if I lost the recording for that. Because that's going to fucking suck if we did. I don't know what to do. If we really lost the recording for that, I don't think I'm going to upload the video for that react. And we're just going to upload the video for this react. And then we're just going to add the stream to the playlist. And I think that's how we're going to do that one. I think that's going to be like the lost video. I don't know. Maybe it overheated. Let me check. Hold up. Let me check my temps. Give me a sec. Let me actually check my temps. Damn, that kind of sucks. That's never happened. Actually, I lied. I think it has happened like once or twice when we've been streaming. Let me check my temperature. Temperature is still not loading. Oh, 0 degrees Celsius. Perfect. I'll give it a minute. It's loading. Yeah, no, I know the previous stream still exists, but I know the recording is gone. I think the recording is gone. Unless OBS, like if there's a sudden shut off, it just saves whatever's there. I think, oh wait, hold up. I think it did save it. What's today's date? Today's the 11th? Oh, wait, I think it does have it here. 6/11. Let me see. You guys ready for another beautiful, glorious day? More Lord of... We're not going to mess up our intro. More Lord of the Mysteries, Volume... Wait, hold up. It's not letting me fast forward. Hold up. You guys ready for another beautiful, glorious day? More Lord of... That's so weird. It doesn't let me, Hold up. 24... It's a 24 gig file. Here, bear with me for 1 second. Bro's PC so cold, it can turn water into ice. Wait, hold up. Let me just double check this. I think I just have to open in a different media player because it's not letting me fast forward or rewind. Any versions of it, I will do that later. Come on. Wait, give me a sec, guys. Let me double check this. Nah. At least it became blood ember. Wait, before I read that. Oh my god, this video is definitely corrupted. It's not letting me, like, fast forward. The lore's too heavy? Let me put my notes. Hold up, before I read everything I missed. Shit, man. It doesn't... My temperature is good. 66 degrees Celsius. My PC is chilling. Can you guys hear my PC fan? Can you guys hear the PC fan or no? I'll put it in silent. That's weird. Okay. I mean, I guess it's good. My editing is fine. All right, let me open my notes now. This. Hold up. Sorry, give me a sec. Alright, so we're back. Okay, so let me find my place first. Of course, we're even qualified to know the slightly age voice. So that part is going to be its own thing. Let me just make sure I have that remembered. Hold up, this has never happened before. Let me just double check this. This was 6:15 through what? This was 6:15 through... What chapter did we read up to? 6:21. There's 6, 621. I'll just label it like that, and then just so people remember. And then this stream is 620. I'll just title it 622, even though it's not 622 yet. Let me change this. Yeah, let me just change this. 620. Yeah, we'll just put 622 because we're almost at 622. Yeah, I'll put 612. 622. Yeah, we're at 621.5. All right. Oh, this is good. Lord's right here. So I'm gonna need completely new. I'm gonna do a completely new timestamp section for the like YouTube description. So let's do this, and then put these lines so I can separate it. Bear with me. Sorry, we had a slight hiccup, but that's not gonna stop us. All right, this is part 1. This is gonna be part 2. And then we're just gonna jump straight into it. Why are the chapters 613? Oh, what the fuck? Like, that went back. That's weird. I guess because it crashed. I don't know. I guess OBS started tweaking out right there because of that whole crash. That's weird, man. I don't know why the fuck it crashed. All right, thank you. Good call. Now we fixed that. Wait, I didn't read what Mero said earlier about the lore. I'll scroll back up right now once we finish all this because I know there was a lot going on right there, and we do got to go over it. Damn it, I'm scared that like summer's approaching, like my power might start going out more often, because I know that is a common thing, at least in most places, right? Like when it's like really hot outside, sometimes your power goes out or like shit like that. Let me find my place though. Give me like 1 minute to find my place. I don't know where I was. Let's start reading from here, just in case. How are those two correlated? Well, usually, like when it's really hot or it's like really windy, like if there's like a really bad storm, internet lines will go down. If it's really hot, internet lines get melted. Like, you know, whenever there's bad weather, it can affect your internet depending, I guess, on your area. I think that's how it works, right? Came to say hi, put a like, and then disappear. My fun smart. Yo, man, you got the shit, Moon. You lock in, bro. You got it, bro. Might be more demand on electricity because of the AC. Yeah, that also too. Also depend. And also, I only have one plug. I have my PC, my PlayStation, my Switch, my 2 monitors, my light, my camera, my mic. Everything is connected to one fucking outlet. And then there's a lot plugged into this. And then I have all these other lights, and all this is connected like to one plug. So I don't know. I guess sometimes it's just too much. Okay. A minute later, Leonard saw Archbishop and St. Anthony. Okay, hold on. A minute later, Leonard saw Archbishop St. Anthony in the Church of the Steams Archbishop Hormick. This is where he left off. Thank you. All right. A minute later. We were okay. Backlum William Street. Backlum William Street. His right hand stays in bar. After a while. A minute later. Leonardo Santos and Inspire. If my stage are created, the ruins like good long to the children. Double console larger minute phrase. A minute later. I found it. A minute later. Alright. We have found our place after stream crashing. Got it. Wait, so Alista becoming Blood Emperor was the one thing Klein already theorized. The new thing was that the United Empire, we always thought that Tudor and Trinset were always enemies, but they were united. So we thought they were at odds, but they were actually united. What were they united against? Okay. But now that stream crashed, we can continue. A minute late, Leonard saw Archbishop St. Anthony and the Church of Steam's Archbishop Hormick enter their conversation as they returned to their own camps. Immediately following that, Hormick ordered all machinery and hive mind personnel to leave, leaving the heir to the Church of the Evernight Goddess Nighthawks. What happened? Upon seeing this scene, Leonard was filled with puzzlement. At that moment, all the Nighthawks heard the Archbishop St. Anthony's voice. All red gloves gathered the other Nighthawks are to leave the mirror world. Oh, wait, hold up. For people, I know we're live, so you guys know we're reading right now, but for people that just watched the VODs, I don't know if I'll be able to upload the prior video, and if it's not uploaded, it's like its own, it's on its own live stream part. That, or we'll put in the playlist. Not sure, but we'll look at it. We'll look at that off stream. Immediately following that, Hormick ordered all machinery and Hivemind personnel to leave, leaving the heir to the Church of the Evernight Goddess Nighthawks. What happened? Upon seeing this, Leonard was filled with puzzlement. At that moment, all the Nighthawks heard Archbishop St. Anthony's voice. All Red Gloves gather. The other Nighthawks are to leave the mirror world, find a reason to evacuate all the residents in the area, and promise them compensation for their property. After all the residents evacuate, the Red Gloves and I will destroy this ruin that stems from an evil era. Entry is forbidden and it will be directly destroyed. May the goddess bless you. This is Leonard. Leonard never expected such a development. 7:30 in the evening, the Rarvi Governor General office. Klein changed into Suthuf appearance. He wore a black tailcoat, a bow tie of the same color. He followed built into the banquet hall. The temperature inside was like that of a spring. A gigantic chandelier hung from the ceiling, and the shimmering handle light illuminated the grounds like it was daytime. In the corner of the right, there was musicians dressed in vests and bow ties playing a brisk tune. On the left were tables. On top were roasted chicken pan, fried foie gras, stewed lambs, backland-styled roasted goose, odora lobsters with butter and cheese. This sounds so good. They're gonna nuke the ruins? Is that what's gonna go out? Is that what's gonna happen? Odora lobsters with butter, cheese, and other delicacies. Despite the distance, Klein could still catch a whiff of the fragrance wafting over. He planned on getting a plate and filled it with food. At this moment, Bilt tugged at his collar in a reserved manner. He leaned his head over and suppressed his voice. Remember the etiquette as required by these such banquets. Our current goal is to observe his excellent actions, so as to take a cup of wine would do. There's misty champagne here amidst grape wine and Saltval red wine. All the famous alcohols are seldom seen outside. You can drink some, but not a lot. We'll have to maintain sufficient sobriety. Yes, try to just go through the motions when drinking. Now the music is way too loud. I can see that. Now the music is way too loud. Give me a sec. Klein retracted his gaze and nodded. The two of them took a cup of golden champagne, whose minute bubbles were like mitts from a red vested water who passed by them. Then they moved towards the banquet's highlight, with the Emiris Rivendell stood wearing his dark blue Navy Admiral's uniform. With the standing, they naturally had no way of approaching the Admiral. All they could do was observe his every action from a slight distance. Amiri's figure is normal. It doesn't look like that fit. The corner of his mouth dropped a little, indicating his actual age. He doesn't have a beard. His blue eyes seem to hide the authority that one cannot reject or define against. His dark blue Admiral's uniform is starched well. There's a red lanyard at his shoulder, which joins to his chest, where all still stored with medals. His sleeves have golden cufflinks, accentuated his equalates of the same color. I read that wrong. Of the same color, his... Wait. Let me... text to speech.
His epaulets are
Epaulets are still split into three parts. From inside out, there's an embedded crown with rubies, the cross, specter, and sword. 4 stars made of diamonds. Klein began scrutinizing and using his faceless powers to memorize all the detailed characteristics of the Navy Admiral, as well as the attitude he used when talking to different people. During this process, he only took a sip of the misty champagne and didn't take note of its taste. After he had mostly gathered all the information, Klein exhaled and allowed his mind to rest. The great drain on his mind made him hungry, hence he placed the wine cup on the tray of the red-vested waiter, and he planned to get some food from the long table. At this moment, Bilt leaned over and said, "His Excellency has given me signal. We'll be meeting with him and agreed location." Klein retracted his gaze from the roasted chicken and swept a cold glance at Bilt. Bilt shuddered as he hurriedly turned around, leading Gervin Sparrow from the floor to the ceiling window and into the garden. After walking for nearly a minute in the secluded path, he paused and pointed at Klein's face. "You can change into His Excellency's appearance. Just pretend that you're that tramp who looks like him." Klein nodded and gently extended his palm to wipe his face. He did so to conceal the disguised tendrils and granules that might appear on his face while changing his appearance. By the time he lowered his plan, Bilt saw a middle-aged gentleman who looked somewhat like Emiris Rivendell. Very good. Bilt took a few steps forward and came to the entrance of the sundries room. He extended his hand and pushed open the unlocked door. Emiris Rivendell was still wearing his eye catching the Admiral uniform. His body was standing sideways to the door as he observed the garden outside by the window. At this moment, he turned his head and cast his gaze onto the person who resembled him. The indescribable pressure and might made Klein involuntarily lower his head. Amir's revealed gaze didn't stop there as it slowly moved to Bilt. He said without any tinge of emotion, "This isn't the tramp you mentioned before. He's a Beyonder." Wait, how do I pronounce his name? What happened next, spoiler? Wait, hold on. Listen, I don't want to find out.
Amirius Revelt's gaze didn't stop.
Amirius Revelt. Not Revelt. Revelt. Got it. All right, chapter 622. Temporary contact. This is starting to give me like volume 1 vibes. When like Quillingus infiltrated the banquet, but now it's Klein infiltrating the banquet. But rather than him going there to assassinate, he's impersonating someone that's allegedly not going to get assassinated. I can see the parallels. All right, but next chapter. Joho. 600. Wait, no, I lied. We're still on 622. Now we're on 622. I'm sorry, did I just bookmark? What was that? All right. Now we're on 622. I didn't do a timestamp for the last chapter. So let's just do this. 0 minutes. Finishing chapter 621. And now this is our new timestamp. 06:53. Copy paste. Beautiful. Crashes will do that to you. What happened next? Chat, don't spoil anything. I'm gonna go get my coffee. Everybody's like, now we can go crazy. He's not here. All right, let's keep reading. All right, chapter 622. Upon hearing Amirius Revdelt's descriptive words, which weren't a question, Bilt forehead instantly broke out into cold sweat. He turned to Gabe, hoping to explain himself, but finally he plopped to his knees and said, under the indescribable pressure, "Admiral, your excellency, the tramp from before suddenly died of an illness. I had no choice but to find an adventurer who can shapeshift." At this moment of time, Klein wasn't too nervous. This was because Amirius Revdelt had already noticed him during the banquet. There was no reason for him to only recognize him as a Beyonder only now. For him to agree to their meeting and not directly avoid the risk meant that he didn't mind who Bilt had hired. Not worried at all. This is the conference of a demigod. Otherwise, his Beyonder pathway is able to avert disaster ahead of time. This is the confidence of a demigod. Otherwise, his Beyonder pathway is able to avert disasters ahead of time. Time. Fate, maybe. Monster. Marauder. We gotta get a 630. Bet. We're locking in. Klein raised his head with great difficulty as he cast his gaze towards the Navy Admiral beside him. Quite strong, Amirius Revdelt commented without an expression. He continued looking at the genuflecting Bilt and said, "Do not try to use your under-the-table smarts in front of me. An ordinary person and Beyonder in the world are different, and I'm a follower of order, making me be able to be certain of this. Of course, it's identical to what's written in the information. The Admiral is inclined to expounding. I'm reading wrong. Expounding on certain things. I have to remember this point. This is a completely different style from me and German Sparrow." Klein retracted his gaze and thought as he cast into the ground, and he was unable to withstand the pressure. Amirius Revdelt took one step forward. "Lying is the first mistake you committed. Not being cautious is the second. A tramp you spent a great deal of effort onto groom has suddenly died, and all of a sudden an adventurer who can shapeshift appears in front of you. Don't you find it a Don't you find it a coincidence? Maybe. Yes, it's quite coincidental. I wonder why." Klein nearly said the same thing. If not for his confirmation above the Grey Fog, he would have suspected that it was being set up by a legendary creature or a grade 0 sealed artifact. Bill's pupils constricted as he snapped to his senses. He discovered that due to his horror and fear, all he thought about was to grasp the final life-saving straw. He had lost the caution brought about from his experience, having not considered whether German Spur's appearance was a coincidence or not. The tramp had suddenly died on the day that he had arrived from the Sweet Lemon Bar. The more Bilt thought about it, the more he felt as though he had fallen for some intricately planned trap. As Amirius Revdelt watched Bilt's expression change with the enlightenment and regret, he nodded gently and said, "My father, the descended Earl Revdelt, once taught me this. He said to pardon the first mistake of a subordinate. Bilt, you should be thankful for his benevolence." Oh, that was his first one? Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for joining our beautiful Evergreen community. Look at that. We're almost at 5,600. Built tense mood eased instantly as he felt extremely moved. He thought Emiris Rivdelt, who was closer to a god than him, would execute him on the spot so as to warn all the other adventurers who were under him, who knew that he would choose to pardon him. Your Excellency, Built was momentarily unable to form a sentence. Emiris maintained his stern expression and said in a deep voice, there's the second half of this saying, that is punish them for their second mistake. Built, do you know what you should do in the future? The genuflecting Built immediately straightened his back and pressed his right fist into his left chest. I'll be utmost loyal to you, Your Excellency. Emiris nodded and turned to Klein. What's your name? That depended on which identity you're asking about. Klein lampooned inwardly and calmly replied, German Sparrow. Emiris Rivdelt suddenly felt silent for 2 seconds as the atmosphere in the sundry room seemed to freeze. Just as Klein couldn't help but feel uneasy, Emiris finally said, so it's you, Your Excellency? You sound as though you know me. I'm just an ordinary military informant. I only exchanged some bounty through you. I haven't even made any reimbursement claims. Klein silently mumbled as he felt less and less confident. Emiris nodded and said to Built and Klein, the plan would proceed as per normal. However, we need to sign a contract. A contract? Klein resisted the pressure with great difficulty as he raised his head to look at the Emiris. Emiris didn't provide a further explanation. He lifted up the paper and pen he had long prepared for the windowsill and wrote something on it. Every time he made contact with his pen, a golden glow would emit. Solemnity and holiness made it seem like he was penning a law. Klein narrowed his eyes slowly as his vision turned blurry. He couldn't help but lower his head again. After an unknown period of time, Emiris stopped writing and picked up a piece of paper. He said to Klein, sign your name and end. If the conditions aren't satisfactory, you can choose not to sign. 5,600? We're going to 5,600? Maybe. Do you think I have... Oh, wait. Bounty? 5,000? Is that what you meant by 5,600? Do you think I have a lack? Do you think I have or lack the guts to sign a Klein lampoon as he watched Built stand up? He received the pen and paper and handed it to Klein. The conditions on the piece of paper were few and simple. Most of them restricted Germansper's actions when acting as the Emiris Rivdelt. It included but wasn't limited to voluntarily exposing any problems, not using his identity to engage in acts which were adversarial to Emiris, as well as not to make any intimate contact with Miss Cynthia, etc. I thought such important figures wouldn't care about their chastity of their mistresses. This admiral is indeed an old-fashioned man. However, I'm no such a person either. Klein hid his curiosity and asked as though it was an academic question, what if Miss Cathia chooses to make intimate contact with me? In between the lines, he was saying that being too distant or resident made it easier for Cynthia to notice the problem. He was asking how he should balance the act. It's fine, Emiris said without any expression. During the contract's validity, you will not have any desire, lack the ability to do it when facing her. You can do that. The contact is rather powerful. Apart from a contract with spiritual word creatures, this is the first time I'm seeing other contracts. Furthermore, the former uses the power of the underworld. This contract is only between two parties. If this is a demigod beyonder, power of Admiral Emiris, the arbiter pathway? The arbiter pathway. Klein shot a glance at the dates and discovered that it lasted 5 days. Is he confident that he will return within 5 days, or is the level only capable of implementing contract for 5 days? Klein read the conditions once again before taking the fountain pen and wrote the name German Sparrow. With the final character written, he saw the words on the piece of paper emit a golden glow as they condensed into a resplendent luster. Amidst the resplendent luster, the piece of paper rapidly dissipated and vanished, as though it had fused with the world's rules. An invisible and faint gray fog gently rippled around him as Klein clearly sensed layers of indescribable restrictions placed on him. These restrictions quickly melted into his body, temporarily becoming one with his spirit body and physical flesh. You're telling me Shio is Arbiter. Yes. Arbiter, and then next was, after Arbiter was Sheriff. Yeah, what's up, dude? Thank you for joining, Bullseye. So now you're telling me we go from Sheriff to like this? Now you can like instill like rules and regulations like that through a contract? Okay, that sounds cool. This guy's a demigod on the Arbiter power. This is hype. I'm excited that like so many like high beyonders are like starting to slowly get introduced into the world. It's so cool, dude. It's so interesting, man. Just finished rewatching Eminence and Shadow. Ooh, I have not watched that. The gray fog can block out bad and good luck for external sources to a certain extent, but it's unable to screen a contract I signed. That's right. If it can screen it, the contract with the messenger wouldn't have been valid. Klein gazed, the mirrors revealed once again in enlightenment. The admiral had already converged his might as he produced a dark golden charm in his palm. On it were the symbols and magical labels representing the Sword of Judgment. Its entire body was converged and somber, giving one the feeling that it was part of the Codex. This is a high-level charm, using my blood, a 4th epoch ancient codex, and the royal family's grade 0 sealed artifact, the Emiris said calmly. Its name is 9th Law. When it's injected with minute amounts of spirituality, it can produce a might that's similar to mine. This can be done even by ordinary people. Without it, you'll find it very difficult to pretend to be me. Indeed, the might I show is a disguised state is only superficial. It's fine fooling another usually, but once there's a need to shock, awe, and shock any subordinate, they would be useless. Klein secretly heaved a sigh of relief. Amiris continued, with your present strength, you should be able to withstand its usage. Through it, you can indicate a necessary restriction on the target, making them be an extremely disadvantaged state. This way, even if a demigod were to sound you out, you'll be able to scare him away. If no mishaps happen at the end of everything, and if you need to use it, then it will be yours to keep. It can be used for a year. Klein was first taken aback before he felt a strong sense of delight. He finally had another high-level charm ever since the time he used up to the one which was created from the mutated sun's sacred emblem. Although such an item had a time limitation and was single use, a pro was that it didn't have any negative side effects. Of course, the stringent requirements that were needed to create one made them very rare in number. As expected of Demigod, he had a lot more generous than built. Bribing a tramp and adventurer at the Pirate Admiral level are different in costs. As Klein thought in happiness, he silently extended his palm and received the high-level charm named 9th Law. Then he saw Amiris remove his belt. After a brief silence, Klein kept his embarrassment in control as he took off his clothes without an expression on his face. Soon he had switched clothes with the Amiris and had donned the dark blue starch Admiral's uniform. After watching Amiris and Built walk off through the secluded pane in the garden, Klein calmly adjusted his buttons and turned to look at the glass window. Under the dark night and the crimson moonlight, the glass window was like a mirror. It vaguely reflected Klein's present looks. He had black hair, which was neatly combed back, blue and profound eyes, slightly dropping cheeks, a beardless face, and an old-fashioned and stern demeanor, all while dressed in a dark blue attire with a lanyard, medals, and epaulates. I'm saying it again. Klein twitched the corners of his mouth as he silently said to himself, from this moment forth, I'm a Navy Admiral. All right. He's digesting his potion at the end of these 5 days. This is called first night. Okay, we got the first night, second night, third night, fourth night, and fifth night. Shit is gonna go down. He is hands down digesting this potion by the time we get to the fifth night. Watch. All right, next chapter. It's funny because Hope is my name. All right, listen with timestamp, and let's keep reading. Let's change this first. Let me mute my mic for no reason. Achoo. Okay. Sorry, I had to sneeze. 5 nights at whatever the guy's name is. Thought you were about to drop me like a 5 Nights at Freddy reference right there. It's like, I understood that reference. 17 minutes. 54 seconds. Copy paste. Alright. 5 nights at the Implorer's place. Let me drink some water and let's keep reading. How does my voice sound if I'm back here? Like, should I be like this up close, or is it okay? Is it okay if I'm like back here for a little bit? If it's okay, I'm gonna be like this for a little bit. I know I'm kind of far from the mic, but I think it's okay, right? All right. Do I give? No, I don't need more coffee. We're gonna keep reading. Yeah, it's fine. Okay, awesome. It's fine. All right, next chapter. Chapter 623 is called First Night. It's better if you're a bit far. It's better if you're a bit far. Okay. Chapter 623 is called First Night. As he touched the 9th Law charms in his pocket, Klein adjusted his height and details regarding his appearance, making him look identical to the Amiris Riv dealt. He walked out from the sundry room by using another door and walked down a silent corridor, back into the Governor General's office. On the way, waiters and maidservants would occasionally pass by him, but no one dared to look straight at him. Just catching sight of his admiral uniform would have them scurrying to the sides as they bowed with their heads lowered. Any person of the same height could probably find his way into the banquet hall when donning these clothes. I have to say, acting as an important figure can be easier than acting like an ordinary person. Klein continued looking straight as he maintained his somber attitude. He walked towards a path paved with black brick in an unhurried fashion. He soon heard beautiful melodic music as elegant wall lamps were burning with gas, illuminating the dark environment. Just as Klein approached a break room, he saw a room open, a middle-aged man who had been waiting there as he walked over. The man had black hair and blue eyes. His facial features somewhat resembled Emir's, but his forehead was higher and his eye... sorry, is this like a relative? But his forehead was higher and his eye bags were puffy. The corners of his mouth didn't droop. He was none other than Emir's Rivdelt, the youngest brother, Aston Rivdelt. Lower my volume. This peak is coming. All right, let's keep reading. This gentleman had once served in the Navy, and he had been promoted to colonel after rendering meritorious services in the southern continent colonies. Later, he got sick of his military career, and together with political balance, he agreed to switch in career and become a governor general. Good for him. In the 5 to 6 years he was in Ararvi, due to the importance placed on the island located in resources, he pushed the Rivdelt family to mass purchase farmland in the States, allowing him to own plenty of property. Let's scroll down. This wasn't completely obtained through his powers either. Aston and Rivdelt family had paid a sufficient price, and they even took loans with the bank. It wasn't like the Balam East Coast, where the land belonged to the Fasek people were forcibly bought at the extremely low prices. Of course, if he was an Ararvi's governor general and his elder brother was in the highest commander of the Central Sonia Seas navies, the Rivdelt family would have so easily convinced their targets to sell such excellent farmland estates. Here comes the test. Klein calmly approached and stopped in front of the Aston Rivdelt. Aston looked around and asked in a deep voice, "Have you decided on the matter?" "What matter?" Klein first felt blank before he recalled an introduction and the information he received. If Aston requests for a private chat or asks for an answer to a certain matter, tell him that an answer will be given to him when departing from Rarvi. Admiral Amiris really anticipated this. I just need to watch my attitude and tone. Yes, I also need to use the unique terms and pronunciations used by the Loan aristocrats. Klein gently nodded and sternly said, "Wait a few more days. The answer will be given to you when departing from Ararvi." Aston didn't raise any doubts as he chuckled. "You seem to be waiting for something to give you the strength to decide." The matter that Admiral Marias had to do himself, Klein's heart stirred as he familiarly used the tone of a high-level personnel. "Keep your conjecture to your self." Ooh, does he self? "Keep your conjectures to yourself." With that said, he took a step forward and walked towards the banquet hall. Aston Rivdelt focused on his elder brother's back. His expression gradually turned cold. He shook his head silently. After entering the banquet hall, Klein surveyed the area and walked towards a long table with food on it. From time to time, he would stop to exchange pleasantries with people who came near him. During this process, he realized that he didn't need to understand the topics raised in conversation. All he needed to do was nod occasionally, allowing the conversation to harmoniously progress until its end. Indeed, the status of an important figure makes certain aspects of acting easy, but correspondingly, there are certain manners that can be difficult. Klein tore through the obstacle after another before finally arriving at the long table. He casually picked up a plate and told himself that Admiral Amiris liked fish, beef, and lobster, while disliking chicken and goose. Therefore, he avoided food like the roasted chicken and Backlund-styled roasted goose. He picked up some beef, fried dragon bone, fish, and adored lobster with butter and cheese. Oh, that sounds good, bro. As the metallic containers had their bottoms lined with asbestos, with red-hot charcoal. This sounds, dude, man. He is getting me hungry. With red-hot charcoal burning under it or steaming hot water, all of the food maintained an appropriate temperature. Klein neatly broke down, destroying his persona when he took the first bite. He's like, "Oh, it's so fucking good." He tried his best to maintain Admiral Maria's image to help his plate and chatted with the port city's members of departments, navy suppliers, etc. He seriously listened to what they had to say, stuffed food into his mouth from time to time. He noticed that a young man in a tailcoat kept following behind him. He had neat blonde hair that he had combed backwards. He had a receding hairline with light blue eyes. He looked like handsome and gentlemanly, identical to the picture, Amir's secretary, Luan. Klein controlled himself and didn't size him up. He went to fill his stomach before the end of the banquet. Once one of the government general offices Klein boarded the carriage was guarded by the bodyguards. He sat beside the wine cabinet. The blonde secretary Luan followed him in as his this guy's a spy. He's gonna try and kill him. Ain't no shot, bro. Watch another secretary try and assassinate a high-profile target, and then we can confirm that the Twilight Hermit Order is spreading their groups and trying to make people be really close to like high target profile people, and then we take them out. The blonde secretary Lon followed him as the leather boots stepped onto the thick, soft carpet. He silently inched towards a spot opposite of Klein. He sat there, but he only occupied a third of his seat. The carriage began moving as Luan took out a stack of documents from the black briefcase he carried. Your Excellency, this is the Rarvi Naval Base ledger from the year 1349. Klein extended his hand over and casually browsed through the few papers. What, a pound for a roll of toilet paper? The naval base's bathroom was renovated 20 times a year? Klein did some simple math and discovered all sorts of ridiculous line items. Isn't accounting such as this way too simple and obvious? I can even give them classes and specially teach them how to make claims. Klein seriously considered the attitude he should show. From his point of view, the greatest difficulty in disguising as Emirs was to fool Luan. This wasn't to say that the Governor General Austin and Miss Cynthia weren't as familiar with Admiral Emirs as his secretary. It was just that his younger brother, Aston, might help his brother conceal the matter if he discovered something amiss after being given a hint. Similarly, as his mistress, Cynthia would be inclined to help conceal the matter from Admiral as his dependent. Of course, the possibility that Kathia was a spy couldn't be eliminated. There was still the matter of there being a chance of being used by a spy, but nothing could be as dangerous as Luan, whose duty was to monitor the Admiral. I can't expose any problems. What kind of attitude would Admiral Mears have when faced with such a report? Go into rage or pretend to be in a rage? No, the Rarvi Naval Base personnel wouldn't be the daring to hand over a clearly problematic report as though he were blind. They must have a certain level of confidence and a tactic understanding between them. As the man, he's playing like 5D chess right here. As the information didn't mention this, Klein could only make a judgment based on his experience. Furthermore, he can confirm that either the Rarvi Naval Base reports was beyond Admiral Amiris' expectations or was determined to be of little importance. Just based on the schedule, it was something that could easily be dealt with, regardless of the possibilities. I have to use the attitude that a person of high standing will usually employ. That is, to not indicate my stance. Klein closed the documents and handed it back to the blonde secretary Luan. He said expressionlessly, "Put it on my desk." And between the lines, the sentence meant, "I'll look through it carefully." To others, it would mean something different based on their standpoints. If the Orarvi Naval Base had done it without warning, this meant that the Admiral was somewhat dissatisfied and was awaiting an explanation. If the two had reached a tacit mutual understanding on the matter, it meant that Admiral Amiris wished to obtain more favorable benefits in the matter. As for whether it would be offered to anyone, Klein didn't care. After all, he wouldn't be Amiris for dealt in a few days' time. He believed that the true demigod had the means to repress the anger of his subordinates. In addition, he was grateful that Amiris was a demigod of the Church of Storms. Otherwise, he had to consider whether to nod his head and to pass the report, or to throw the documents back in anger while throwing the few people and passing into the sea to feed the fishes. Yes, Your Excellency, the blonde secretary Luan didn't change his expression. He stuffed the document back into the black briefcase as though he had long expected such a response. On the way back, Klein leaned back into the carriage. According to Amiris Revdelt's habits, he'd half close his eyes as though he was contemplating certain matters, but in fact he wasn't thinking of anything. Luan maintained his silence and didn't speak at all. Human-height iron black street lamps were quickly left behind as the carriage drove close to the naval bases before taking a bend into a house with garden and lawn. Just as Klein walked up the steps, a butler opened the door for him as servants lined the two sides, reverently awaiting his entrance. The living room was decorated in a very classic manner. There were oil paintings of beautiful scenery hung up, limestone statues, simple and elegant vases, etc. A faint but lingering fragrance emanated in the room, one that reached into the heart. Klein, who should have relaxed, ended up tensing up as he saw a beautiful lady walk towards him in a hometown. She looked to be in her early 20s. Her blonde hair cascaded down, and when she cast her blue eyes over, it was as though there was a glow hidden within them. While filled with gentle feminineness, there were still some remnants of her adolescence. She was none other than Admiral Amiris' mistress, Cynthia. Okay. Maybe... Oh, wait, hold up. Never mind. Hold up. I was like, maybe she's a demoness because of her characteristic like her femininity and whatnot. Like, no, maybe that's not it. Klein held back his discomfort and allowed the mirror's stern face to reveal a smile as he widened his arms. Cynthia threw herself into his arms and tiptoed. With her cheeks by his cheek, she whispered a smile. Admiral, I've already heated the water for you in the bathtub. Oh, shit, it's about to go down. This means that she has someone... Wait, this means she had someone monitor the end of the banquet. Being a mistress isn't something simple either. Admiral Ramirez does like to take hot baths so as to relax his thoughts. In order to ignore how close their cheeks were, Klein allowed his thoughts to wander. As a straight man, he should have felt embarrassed while also being rather glad to be approached by such a beautiful member of the opposite sex. However, the temporary contact made him have zero urges, hence all that was left was awkwardness. Very good. Klein praised her as he gently pushed Cynthia, he like pushes her away slowly. As he gently pushed her away, having had nowhere to place them. Knowing that the Admiral didn't like to be intimate in front of the servants, Cynthia retreated and led Klein to the second floor. He was brought into the bathroom as he prepared a bathrobe for him. After doing all this, Cynthia instructed the servants to not come to the second floor unless they heard the bell ring. Then she returned to the bedroom, took off all her clothes, and changed into a nightgown made of silk. Her nightgown revealed plenty of her chest. It was an alluring snow white, and deep in her cleavage was a special necklace pendant. It was like a miniaturized black rhinoceros horn about the length of a finger segment. Cynthia took off the necklace and stuffed it under her pillow. Amidst her blushing and hesitation, she left the bedroom and came outside of the bathroom where Admiral was bathing. Mustering her strength, she pulled at the handle. Creak, her hand paused. She realized that the bathroom's door had been locked from the inside at some point in time. With a blank look, Cynthia instinctively yanked at it again. Creak, creak. The bathroom's door didn't budge an inch. Klein is like, be gone. Be gone, Cynthia. We shall not indulge in this scene. They're like, yeah, you go to bed, woman. I'm gonna take a bath, you go to bed. It's like, try 85 days, woman. She's like, leave me the fuck in, dude. With a blank look, like, what the fuck? Ah, dude. Oh, shit. This is so funny. Oh, shit. Next chapter. That was so fucking funny. She's like, oh, that's weird. Fucking door's not opening. Fucking let me in, dude. All right, next chapter is called Warning. What does this mean? Either she's trying to give him an important warning, or he's warning her not to come in. Klein ain't freaking like result. No. Good for him. Well, I mean, he's also under a contract. So he couldn't even do anything. Why did my thing freeze? My thing froze before my stream crashed. Hold up. Okay, we're good. That scared me. Thought my stream was about to crash again. Let me do a timestamp. 30 minutes. 41 seconds. Did we update this part? Yes. All right, let's keep reading. Chapter 624, if this was resolved, probably. Chapter 624 is called Warning. The bathroom was partitioned inside. The emanating steam converted the entire bathroom. Apart from his head, Klein's entire body was soaked in hot water. He lay there in such great comfort that he didn't even wish to move his toes. What a beautiful night. If only there was no Cynthia outside. I still have to deal with her later. Klein sighed as he considered what excuse to use to avoid being intimate with her. In accordance with the Admiral Mirror's Revdelt's traits, he decided to first use work as an excuse. After that would be the excuse of him not feeling well, him losing the ability to have sex, him needing some time to digest any medicine he had just taken, and now he suddenly realized his true sexual orientation, making him find curly-haired baboons extremely attractive. If or whether this would damage the Admiral's image, Klein didn't feel the slightest bit of pressure. As long as he prevented Cynthia from suspecting that he was a fake Amir's Revdelt, he would have perfectly completed his mission. The subsequent explanations for those excuses and how he finds an excuse to explain his recovery would be an Admiral Amir's problem. What has that got to do with me, German Sparrow? And what does German Sparrow ruined reputation have to do with me, Sherlock Moriarty? Klein stood up in satisfaction as he walked out of the dry partition with dropping wet. He got a bath towel and dried himself. After changing into a hanging bathrobe, Klein inhaled silently as though he had unlocked a major enemy in his quest. He's hitting the boss stage. Klein inhaled silently as though he had unlocked a major enemy in his quest. He's hitting he's entering like the Dark Souls room. Like you know when you enter a boss room in Dark Souls, like before the boss pops out and you hear the music. This is what's happening for him. He opened the door to the bathroom, seeing the corridor empty with only light from the wall lamps on both sides illuminating darkness. Klein felt slightly relieved and was no longer as tense. This is almost the same feeling as challenging a pirate admiral. As he mumbled, he realized his serious problem. He had no idea which of the rooms was the master bedroom or study. He's so lost. Regardless, I have to inform Cynthia, otherwise it would make Admiral Ramirez appear strange. Klein recalled the layout of the similar houses in an attempt to accurately find the master bedroom. At this moment, the door to the room diagonally across him creaked open. Cynthia, who was draped in silk nightgown, walked over. Her blonde hair appeared wet and messy as they cascaded down. There were even a few strands of hair floating in front of her blue eyes as bright red lips. It hid the glow in her eyes as her lips were somewhat closed. She appeared extremely alluring under the dim environment. The neckline of the silk nightgown was very open as snow whiteness and a deep cleavage was reflected in Klein's eyes. Okay, hold up. This is starting to get scary for Klein. Klein nearly raised his head to look at the ceiling to avoid intense stimulation. Calm down, calm down. You are a mere adult. Besides, you've seen a half-naked demoness before. Compared to an element maiden, this lady's charms are clearly insufficient. Damn, that's kind of mean. Wait, why am I thinking about demonesses? Who knows if they were formerly men or women? Klein maintained his gaze as he sized her up and down with a teasing tone. In that instant, he could sense a primordial desire, but there was no response from his nether regions. This is the result of the temporary contract. In fact, Admiral Amiris didn't need to go through the trouble. Even if I have the urge, I'll be able to control myself. What kind of situation haven't I encountered before? Yes, Cynthia is a little indifferent from what the records say. Isn't it said that she became Amiris' mistress about 1 or 2 years ago? With them not being able to meet each other most of the time, the Admiral had to coax her each time as to she hadn't had her pent-up desires fulfilled. Why is she the one taking the initiative today? Does she find her standing as his mistress unstable, or has she been switched? Ever since Klein became a faceless, he felt everyone else was a fake. Bro, she's gonna try and kill him. That's why she put the necklace under her bed, because when they go to bed, she's gonna try and stab him. Oh, no way, dude. Congrats on starting Lord. Dude, it is a goated series. Give it time, and you're going to fall in love with it, man. Yo, that's so crazy. You started reading it. I'm telling you, it's really good. Give it time, man. It's going to grow on you. Cynthia's eyelids were lower. Just this part is a little different from what we've been reading so far. It's getting a little spicy. Cynthia's eyelids were lower. The courage she had mustered disappeared bit by bit under the mere scrutiny. Her face was tainted with horror and blush. With a horrified blush. She was embarrassed, but also felt some pride. Then she heard him calmly instruct, "Help me prepare some coffee and place it in my study. I have many things to deal with tonight. You don't have to wait for me." Cynthia raised her head suddenly, her embarrassed blushing still present. She had momentarily failed to understand what Admiral Ramirez had said. Klein secretly inhaled and went forward to hug her before kissing her gently on the forehead. "Aw, that's sweet. I'll spend lots of time with you in a few days." Such a response came from the provided information, but he had slightly changed the terms. To be frank, if not for him having some prior understanding, Klein would have definitely believed that Admiral Ramirez would wear the same stoic face while spending time with his mistress, even when having sex. He looked stern in whatever he said and did. However, the demigod also had his gentle side when it came to his speech. He was just not that great at saying lovey-dovey words. Lovey-dovey words. The necklace ain't that big. Oh, it doesn't need to be that big. All you need is like a little bit, and it's over, bro. It's GG. To be frank, it's not for him having some... Oh, I just read this. This also made him understand something else. Many people could only be viewed from the surface, and it was impossible to imagine what they were like in private. For a faceless to pull off a true disguise, they have to be meticulous and... They have to do meticulous investigations and have ample comprehension on the target. This was just like how the magician never performed unprepared. Cynthia revolved a clear look of disappointment, but she quickly restrained these feelings as she smiled. "All right, Admiral, your nightgown is in the room. A bathrobe isn't suitable for handling matters." This is identical to the information. She's rather considerate and knows how to I'm mispronouncing. She's rather considerate and knows how to be understanding. Klein watched as Cynthia turned and entered the room. She pulled at the bell. As for him, he took this opportunity to take off the bathrobe and change into dark red nightgowns with trousers of the same color. Cynthia attentively opened the door at the study and tidied up the slightly messy desk. Later, she waited for the maidservant to finish making the coffee before personally taking it and delivering it by hand. During this process, Klein read the documents and information, acting as though he looked extremely professional, but in fact, he had little idea about the data and designs plans of the ironclad warships and sailboat battleships. He was no different from an illiterate. In this domain, all he knew was the carriers, air domains, and main cannon guns and turrets. When he saw Cynthia silently leave and close the door behind her from the corner of his eyes, Klein relaxed completely. He knew that he had finally survived the night. He's like, he made it. Inside the master bedroom, Cynthia pursed her lips as he took the necklace under her pillow and tightly clasped it into the resembling black rhinoceros horn, which was the length of a finger segment. She stood there and silently prayed, "Oh, great mother tree. We have not heard about the mother tree in a long time. Oh, great mother tree, please make me more alluring, allowing Admiral Cyrus to be even more mesmerized by me, so that he can gain extreme pleasure from me and bear me a child." Inside the quiet study, Klein flipped through the pile of documents placed in front of him. Aw. No. Wait, oh, Mother Tree, not Mother Earth. Oh! From the first trailer. No. Someone probably mentioned it so long. Okay, so look, now I'm thinking back to trailer 1. The tree was not from Mother Earth. It's from Mother Tree. Okay, so okay, hold up. Oh, the chapter. Okay, so I was oh, wait, hold up. You guys are getting really excited. No one mentioned this entity. Okay, so I confused Mother Earth and Mother Tree. Okay, my bad. That's what I thought it was. So this is a new entity. So the Mother Tree has to be a descendant of Mother Earth. So this is probably like Mother Earth's child, right? The Mother Tree. And the Mother Tree, or the tree we saw in trailer 1 when he's like in the spirit world, like when he's like that floating, that's probably what this is. Mother Tree of Desire. That's probably what this is. Okay. She stood there and silently prayed, "Oh, great Mother Tree of Desire, please make me more alluring, allowing Admiral Ramirez to be even more mesmerized by me, so that he can gain extreme pleasure." Ah, she's so dead. "And bear me a child." Ah, it's over. Inside the quiet... Ah, I feel so bad for her already. I feel so bad for her, for Cynthia. Oh, my God. Inside the quiet study, Klein flipped through the pile of documents. Wait, I just read this. No, I didn't. Placed in front of him, he followed the handling methods according to what information indicated. He chose the simple ones inside a mirror's Rivdelt. Name on them. The reason why he could mimic his signature was because Faceless allowed him to remember a target's unique traits, while Clown gave him the precise control needed. The complicated ones he couldn't understand had notes written in the following vibes. Continue studying the matter. After busying himself until midnight, Klein reached out to cover his mouth and yawned slightly. It's over. This won't do. I need to sleep. I have plenty of challenges tomorrow. I have to maintain sufficient strength and energy. Klein thought for a moment and gave up the idea of returning to the master bedroom. He raised his right hand and pressed down on his half-closed eyes. He pulled him down and moved his eyes to his nose bridge. Following that, Klein opened up 2 slits where Klein's eyes were originally and used his flesh to produce a pair of fake eyes. After becoming a Faceless, I'm really beginning to resemble a monster. If only I had such a godly technique back in school. He sighed silently. He half leaned his body as he kept his real eyes closed, while his fake eyes were left open to read the documents. That's pretty funny, dude. Look at him pulling Faceless to use. To read the documents. His specialty as a clown allowed him to maintain his balance. He remained motionless like a stone statue. After an unknown period of time, Klein suddenly awoke from his dream. He sensed that there was a force attempting to pull him into a deep slumber before infiltrating him. Mother Tree? Who is it? I didn't do anything recently. Why would anyone enter my dream? That's not right. I'm now Admiral Ramirez Rivdelt. Klein's heart stirred as he immediately changed his looks. Even in his dreams, he appeared to be that demigod. Meanwhile, he felt his consciousness tightly Oh, if he looked like Klein in his dream, people would be like, "Oh shit, it's not him. It's not Ramirez." Meanwhile, he felt like his subconscious tightly contract as though it was avoiding something. This is different from an ordinary dream divination. I've clearly regained my lucidity and I can escape by myself and wake up, but I'm unable to leave this dreamscape. Klein found plenty of oddities as he tried a few attempts. He knew very well that he was sleeping and he could sense and control his body outside the dream, but no matter what he did, he was unable to wake up. Right on the heels of that, he saw a blurry white gas from an indescribable figure. Klein narrows his eyes slightly as he tore through the dream with his psyche, allowing his real body to move slightly. Then he put his palm into his pocket and touched the 9th flaw charm. What the fuck? At that moment, the blurry figure calmly said, "Do not participate in the matter regarding Aston." Oh, we got a scheme going on. This is a warning. He'd be like, I'll do what I want, bitch. Wait, sorry, that's mean. Wait, we actually don't know who it is yet. Quite impressive to warn a demigod. What is Aston and the others thinking of doing? Klein thought for a moment and emanated his spirituality, allowing the 9th law of charm to produce a deep sense of dominance. Then he intimidated and pounced the same feeling in his dream. He said with a deep voice, "Who are you? Who do you represent?" The blurry figure was taken aback before he said with a laughing sigh, "As expected, a Law Weaver Ramirez." Law Weaver? The plot chickens indeed. So a high sequence is called Law Weaver. Or is that just like the title? Law Weaver is a sequence. It's a high sequence. It's a demigod sequence. Law Weaver. The chicken crosses the road. Why did the chicken cross the road? Because the plot chickens. As expected, a Law Weaver Ramirez. Not his sequence name. Oh, it's his title. Got it. Law Weaver Ramirez, you actually managed to maintain your lucidity in such a situation. No. Although Ramirez has a title of Law Weaver, he's not adept in such matters. You should say, as expected of Lord Fool, Klein lampooned and sternly said, "Answer my question." Ooh, answer my fucking question. Ooh, you don't need to know who I am. Oh, I do. As a demigod, you should be clear that everything is fated. Likewise for these times. Do not resist the fate of an era, which is also the trend of the times. This will only make you sacrifice of history. You see, Klein is not bound to fate. He is like the one that's outside of fate through the power of the Great Fog. So he's like, nah. Fate of an era, the trend of time, sacrifice of history. When he heard this, Klein suddenly thought of the term Twilight Hermit Order. However, Klein didn't say a word, nor did he. It's his secretary. Nor did he say those words. This was because Admiral Ramirez would beat him for the next few days. Seeing Law Weaver Ramirez fall into silence, the blurry figure didn't say another word. It turned into an emanating white gas before vanishing from the dream. All right, next chapter. This is getting good. Let's update this. Let me sip my water, and let's keep reading. Timestamp, 44 minutes. 36 seconds. Copy, paste. Hope you guys are having a good day. Do not resist the fate of an era. Do not resist the trend of times. That was a pretty hard line. That line was pretty hard. Like, do not resist trends of time. I don't know. There's a lot of time and fate. There's a lot of shit going on in here, man. I don't know. I'm thinking Ouroboros might be a lot more menacing than we think. Or whatever ends up being the Wheel of Fortune might be a lot more menacing than we think. But let's keep reading. Thank you. There's like 30 of you guys here, even after stream crash. Thank you guys for tuning in. All right, let's keep reading. Chapter 625 is called Successful First Day. Ooh, look at that. He made it. What exactly are Ramirez and Aston Revdent scheming about? To attract a warning from the Twilight Hermit Order, unless it can truly change the time and influence the directions of history, this ancient and secret organization wouldn't even show itself or reveal this identity. Klein stood by the side of a magnificent castle in his dream, thoughtfully watching the spot where the blurry figure had dispersed from. Amidst his thoughts, he suddenly snapped awake and was no longer as certain about this theory. The ploy which Admiral Ramirez and his brothers are planning might not really influence the trends of times. Although the Twilight Hermit Order only involves itself in important matters, as a leader of another secret organization, Klein clearly knew that apart from carrying out the organization's own mission and values, it also provided help among members. From Ember Rizzo's diary, I can tell that the Twilight Hermit Order has members from the different domains, standing and sequences, apart from a number of them fervently believing in the original creator as they await the coming of Twilight and the awakening of the true gods. The rest are only seeking to benefit themselves under such circumstances. As long as the organizer doesn't strictly implement order, there would naturally be missions entrusted between one another. Perhaps the matter of Aston Revdent is planning affects a particular member of the Twilight Hermit Order who was made aware of it ahead of time. He entrusted this matter to another member and used his excuse of the trend of times to warn Amir's Revdelt. Working from this logic, the concealed matters is rather interesting. With a level Twilight Hermit Order, Law Weaver Amiris, whose likely only sequence 4 isn't too difficult to a target to eliminate. I even suspected that they can mobilize up to 3 or more angels in a manner that's far superior to the 7 churches. Then why did they take action directly instead of... Oh my god, I'm reading wrong. Everything is a lot more menacing than you think. I know. I'm ready to find out. Then why did they take action directly and instead gave an advance warning? Back in Backland, if there were angels... Wait, hold up. Quick pause. I'm gonna quickly go use the bathroom. I'll be back in 2 minutes. Hang out. Just hang out for like 2 seconds. I'll be right back. Quick break. I'll be right back. I'm back. Let me just eat one chip and we'll continue, okay? Mmm. Ooh, these are good. Mmm. Mmm. Damn. Sweet. Just enough tang. Ah, those are fucking good. All right, let's keep reading. Find my place. I think I was right here after our little break. But back in Backland, if an angel were to appear, who knows if some true god were descended upon the line. Therefore, the Twilight Hermit Order had no choice but to use a more roundabout and discreet method to deal with Duke Negan. But this is the Rarvi Island. Even high sequence beyonders aren't stationed here. The warning is because of the Twilight Hermit Order advocates secrecy and doesn't wish to expose itself. So they're trying to not use overly intense methods, or as to use the case that the members who assigned the mission doesn't wish to see Amiris killed. To him, this admiral is still of use. It's still of use, so he's unwilling to give up on him. Even if Amiris might be involved in something disadvantageous towards him, then his true identity seems to be confined to certain circles. Klein made a bold assumption, but with no way of verifying it, he could only temporarily put the matter aside and throw it to the back of his mind. It has nothing to do with me, since the Twilight Hermit Order, who's warning Admiral Amiris, as long as I don't involve myself with anything for the next few days, I should be able to last until the mission is completed. Everything else that develops afterwards has nothing to do with me. With the present statuses, I'm still far from investigating the Twilight Hermit Order. I don't even know the right to probe deeper. Oh, I don't even have the right to probe deeper. Klein kept to his beliefs and turned his sights to the Terror Club. I just discovered a problem. Other secret organizations have their own aims and values, and their core while mixing in the aid that the members provide each other. As for the Terror Club, it's more impressive. There are only missions given to each other without any... I scroll down too much. Without... Snap. Hold up. Fuck. I scrolled down too much. Why did it do that? How far were we into reading this chapter? Only like 4 minutes, right? Fuck, I scrolled down too much. Back in Backland without any. What the fuck? The full client then had discovered the problem. Our secret organizations get their full missions each without. Oh, here. That's so weird. Sometimes I scroll by accident and like it goes like a page back or a page forward. Without any aims or values. No, there are aims and values among them, some of the members. For example, my dear Moon believes that this is an organization born to save the world. The full client gave a self-deprecating laugh before exiting the dreamscape. He rubbed away the fake eyes and moved his real eyes back to their original position in a very fluid motion when he suddenly paused. This wasn't a simple dream infiltration. Klein frowned slightly as he recalled what had happened. This was because the power had first attempted to pull him into a deep slumber. Back then, I had fallen asleep, so why would he do so? Captain 1 said that a nightmare can directly see a dream, so it's impossible to commit such a mistake. Therefore, the visitor hadn't used the beyond powers of a nightmare, but something else. Something else. He located me via the spirit world, or after he knew the location, he used the sea of the collective subconscious, as described by Mam Dali, to directly influence my beyond powers. Yes, I'm more inclined to the second reason than the one thing that can explain why I couldn't escape my dream despite having regained lucidity. It's recorded in the Emperor's Diaries that during his participation in the suspected Twilight Hermit Order, his entry into the gathering was based on a realistic dreamscape that encompassed the entire continent. A realistic dreamscape. Klein nodded and chuckled silently with a sigh. Admiral Amiris definitely didn't expect the Twilight Hermit Order's warning. encompassed the entire continent. That almost sounds like a different uniqueness that was digitizing the continent, and the Twilight Hermit Order has that said item. It's only because he hired me. If it were anyone else, the standing would have already been exposed. The ninth flaw charm was well worth it. City of Silver, inside the spire, in the room that belonged to the chief Colin Elliot, Derek Berg, who had been summoned, saw the grizzled, scared demon hunter once again as he felt uneasy. After he finished his greetings, Colin sized him up and asked, "You're advanced?" "Yes, I'm already Sequence 7 Solar High Priest, bro." Oh my god. Sequence 7 Solar High Priest. Derek had long regained his advancement, so there was no need to hide the matter. Colin's light blue eyes, which had been seen vicissitudes of time, moved away as he casually asked, "Do you have any subsequent potion formulas?" The past Derek would have directly answered no, but the present him was used to thinking over it before answering. If I say no, he's been at too many Terry gatherings. Now he's thinking it through. If I said no, my subsequent advancement with a lack of experience to support it will definitely make me suspicious. But if I were to answer yes, Chief might ask me to use them to exchange for items as to nurture more sun pathways. This is in no doubt proven that I'm lying. As Derek mind raced, he answered sincerely, no. From his point of view, experience could be forged. Colin nodded as if nothing was out of the ordinary. In about 2 months, we'll arrange an exploration mission for you. The team will secure the route and ruins we found to help with Jack before we make a second clearing. I hope you will receive greater rewards then. Yes, Your Excellency. Just as Derek answered, he suddenly recalled Shepherd Lovia. We just switched point of views that quickly? As daybreak, Klein changed into his clothing with the help of Cynthia, enjoying a sumptuous breakfast, and he took the carriage under the escort of the Admiral's bodyguards to Rarvi Naval Base. In the morning, under the companionship of the rear admirals and colonials, he inspected the conditions of the ship's ordnance stores, the newly built training grounds, and the bathroom, which had been renovated 20 times over the past year. After having lunch at the Navy mess hall, Klein followed the schedule, summoning all the officers above the rank of the major to take in the reports. During this process, he had a thick black-bound notebook and placed it in front of him. Inside were some of the questions of the Admiral Amiris had specially prepared for him. In the past few decades, due to the embezzlement of sailors and the harsh conditions of the sailors suffer, Rarvi had been 17th revolts by the lower ranks. After the passing of the Intis Navy Latest Act, and thanks to Your Excellency's guidance, we've already had such deep-seated cultural issues improved. Then haven't been any such cases in the past 3 years. A colonial from the Rarvi Naval Base stood on the spot and reported the entire situation. He would raise his head from time to time to look at Admiral Mears's revealed and discover that he was listening very serious while taking notes. The scribble sounds made none of the officers dare to not be at their best. Similarly, they took note of the important points. The colonial who received a positive response unknowingly spoke up louder while reporting. How boring. Klein held his fountain pen and had randomly drawn creatures like turtles, cuttlefish. I understood that reference. Turtles and cuttlefish and dragons on his back-bound notebook. As he had never studied sketching before, his drawing were ghastly sight to see. Later on, he even drew intersecting lines and began playing 5 in a row with himself. A game created by Emperor Result, 5 in a row. Did he just copy Connect 4 and made it 5? Of course, his rich experience and his consciousness of his identity made him raise his head from time to time to give the reporter a stern look in the eyes while giving a nod of encouragement. As for what the person had said, he didn't pay any attention to it. All he did was occasionally remember a few words. During the briefing, Klein shot a glance at the blonde secretary, Luan, to get him to represent himself to mention a few points that needed clarification. Everything followed the schedule. Towards the end, Klein flipped the black-bound notebook a few pages forward and used the accent of the Loan aristocrats to recite the report, which had secretly drafted, the Admiral had edited. Then, according to the actual situation, he used the common terms Amiris would use and added a few conjectures and pet phrases such as, "There are a few points, let me continue on a few more points." It was already evening by the time the briefing ended. Under Luan's companionships, Klein left Rarvi Naval Base and headed for the resistance of the naval supplier. When a banquet was held, at the banquet they casually chatted about the price of fluctuating of port goods. As for Klein, he mimicked Admiral Mears, and he would mention a dated joke from Backland from time to time, garnering a warm response from everyone as he was praised for his humor. After successfully acting until the banquet ended, Klein boarded the carriage, feeling exhausted in body and mind. I have to take note of my speech and actions every minute and second. Engaging in true acting for a day is more tiring than battling a pirate admiral. Klein silently sighed as so he's definitely digesting this potion. Klein silently sighed as he closed his eyes halfway without a change of expression. He knew that the most difficult stage of the day wasn't over. He still had to deal with Cynthia. Inside the villa, Cynthia leaned forward for the attendant who had gone out to make inquiries of Admiral Ramirez was about to return. She quickly returned to her bedroom, took out the tiny black rhinoceros horn pendant, and used a metallic plate to scratch off the tiny bits of powder, mixing it into the hot water inside a white porcelain teacup. What? What is she up to? After repeating the honorific name of Mother Cheer Desire 7 times, she waited nearly a minute before lifting the teacup in hope, clearly downing it. All right, let's keep reading. This chapter is called Amiris's Decision. Okay. Yeah, we're having a lot of eyes in chat right now. I don't know what's going on. All right, let's keep reading. Let me change this. We are at 626. 626. All right. Female mummy powder. Maybe it's female mummy powder. Maybe she needs that female mummy powder. Just like she prayed, like, yo, like, I want him to give me a child. That's probably what's going on right now. Do my timestamp? Let's keep reading. 55 minutes. 55 seconds. Wow, we read that in 11 minutes. I think we've improved. Oh shit, we're spoilers? No, I didn't read it. I didn't read them. Don't worry, I'm not reading anything. Whatever they're saying over here, I didn't read it. It's okay. It looks like Romero and Dee deleted them pretty quickly. All right. 626. Chapter 626 is called Amiris's Decision. Looking at the lights emanating out from the villa in the darkness, Klein spent several seconds mentally preparing himself before alighting the carriage. He followed the 3-layered staircase and came to the door where the Admiral's bodyguard and servants were lined up to the sides before stepping in. Seeing Cynthia wearing conservative home clothes due to the existence of others, Klein silently heaved a sigh of relief as she had maintained his relieved as he maintained his stoic expression and slowly walked over. Cynthia's smile became more and more brilliant as she shifted the strands of her hair to the back of her ear, revealing her faint and slender neck. Her neckline didn't have any marks left behind by necklace. Seeing Secretary Luan and the Admiral's bodyguards head for their own rooms or moving outside the building to take up their patrolling positions, Klein pulled Cynthia into an embrace and said in a deep voice, "There's no need to prepare any hot water. Give me a quiet room. I need to spend the night alone." Oh, she mad. Cynthia used her eyes to express her puzzlement and blankness. Klein surveyed his surroundings, softly said, "Something unexpected happened. I need to enter an extremely quiet state of recovery." As he spoke, he raised his right hand to pull at his collar, revealing a patch of faint-colored fleshly granules. His problematic physical condition with an abnormal reaction was an excuse Admiral Ramirez had prepared for the tramp stand-up so as to avoid Cynthia's attempts of intimacy without exposing the problem. To make it more convincing, Klein used his spaceless powers to provide evidence. Cynthia turned agape as she nearly screamed. Thankfully, she covered her mouth in time to she's grossed out, to held it in. The moment Cynthia recovered from her shock, she immediately asked nervously, her concern and emotions evident, "Are you fine? Do you need to see a doctor?" "No, this is the price needed for powerful strength. Our recovery given 2 to 3 days of solitude. Klein had already found an excuse needed for the future." "Oh, okay." Cynthia hurriedly helped Klein up to the second floor and led him into the quiet room. As for the master bedroom, she had already lit some scented candles and scattered some faint-smelling extracts, so she didn't offer him some. Seeing that the door closed, Klein slowly exhaled. He changed out of the Admiral's uniform and lied down in satisfaction. Not far away from this master bedroom, the worried and disappointed Cynthia was soaking herself in hot water before sleeping. She looked at the ceiling with an unfocused gaze as she couldn't help but recall the extortions of her parents from a few days ago. They wanted her to charm Admiral Ramirez and hopefully be impregnated with his child. This way their family would be able to take on more businesses with the Central Sonia Seas Naval Fleet. Admiral seems to have many matters hidden in his heart, so much that something abnormal has happened to his body. Cynthia's thoughts wandered as they slowly dispersed. Without her realizing it, she had fallen asleep. Overload. During this period, she found her digestive system turning warm as her body felt a little hot. In her dream, she seemed to see a pitch black sky which was dotted with resplendent stars. One of them seemed to notice her gaze as it produced a brighter glow. Okay, hold up. Full stop? Wait, no, not full stop. What am I saying? Like, in all reality, I hope at the end of the series, Klein, learns to, fall in love with someone, right? Just like how, Roselle, finally started to like fall in love with his child, when he realized like, oh, like this is what it means to be a dad and mature. I'm not saying Klein is mature. I'm not saying he's not mature. Sorry, double negative. What I mean to say is, I hope towards the end of the series, he learns to fall in love with someone, even though he knows like he still wants to go back home. And then he comes to the decision like, do I go home or do I stay with this new person I fell in love with? But I don't want to read chat. I'm seeing some eyes. I'm seeing I'm seeing 2 unsent messages. I don't want to know what's going on. But I do hope at the end of the day, Klein learns to love, even though he told himself very early on, no, I don't want any like emotional attractions or bonds to others. But that's all I'm gonna say. I do hope that at the end of the day, he gets a happy ending with someone he truly loves. Be it someone we've met or someone we are like bound to meet by fate, you know? No, this is the price needed for powerful strength. Our recovery given 2 to 3 days of solitude. Klein had already found excuses near the future. I read this. Samantha bedroom, she had already sent the candles. I read this. With her relationship, during this okay, I read this already. During the next morning, the invigorated Klein enjoyed a sumptuous breakfast, which was nothing spectacular to speak of. Once again, he was surrounded by the Admiral's bodyguards and has arrived at the Rorvik Naval Base and was placed in the most luxurious and spacious office. According to the Admiral Mirror's habits, he would spend some alone time every 2 or 3 days to study the master of his beyonder powers to a deeper extent and produce more effective techniques. Therefore, Klein spent most of the time without being disturbed, with him only needing to handle some simple work. Inside the quiet and spacious office, Klein leisurely paced about or flipped through the book from the bookshelf. From time to time, he would put his palm into his pocket to touch the 9th law charm to release some of its powerful might. This was to make Secretary Luan, who was outside, believe that there was nothing wrong with Admiral Mears. After some time, Klein felt sleepy and decided to take a short nap. At this moment, he heard knocking at the door. There's something important, Klein frowned. Something that made Secretary Luan disturbed. Admiral Mears' focus training was definitely nothing simple. Come on, Klein converged his emotions and answered with a deep voice. The handsome blonde man, Luan, turned the handle and entered. He held a telegram in his hand. He said with a suppressed voice, Your Excellency, a telegram from Backland. Here we go. Mr. Aston has been relieved of his post as Governor General. He will temporarily be replaced by the City Councilor Chairman. It's said that the new Governor General will arrive today. Aston, so this wasn't this chapter called Aston's Decision or something? Aston Revdolt had been relieved of his post as Governor General. Has her secret been discovered? That's right, the Twilight Hermit Order has already warned me. No, Amiris. It means that they had long grasped the actual matter. With another member cracking the wheel, the matter will likely go through a series of position changes, putting an end to the matter. A warning was given to the previous night, and the action was taken today. They must have prepared for quite a while. Yes, that can be seen from the fact that the new Governor General will arrive today. Klein was first alarmed before he felt the matter was within reason. He mimicked his attitude as Admiral Mears would have when faced with a major problem by pacing back and forth before saying with a stern expression, I'm aware. Klein didn't express his views or pass by any others, appearing extremely staid. However, it was because he hadn't decided on response. We have a saying from the Foodaholic Empire, moving is not as good as staying put. I wonder if Rizzo has translated this. Klein lampooned as he gave a self-deprecating jest. Luan raised his head and glanced at Admiral Mears without saying a word before silently leaving the office. Klein paced about once again as he considered what Admiral Mears would do if he were standing here. This is something important that had happened outside of his expectations. Therefore, Klein could only infer from Mears' character, experiences, as well as some other personal descriptions to inform in the information provided to him. He's a conservative person, even while he was a mid and low sequence beyonder and was of all kinds of different ships. He very rarely took risks. He believes himself to be a lone aristocrat who values family, children, and emotions. He's a gentleman who's of good bearing and garners the affection of women. This point is to open debate. With his standing and statuses, even a curly-haired baboon would garner the affection of men and women, no, perhaps even more. At the very least, a curly-haired baboon doesn't tell dated jokes. Information ran through Klein's mind as they intervened to form a multifaceted image of Admiral Mears. While in his deep thought, he heard knocking at the door once again. Come in. Klein instantly tensed up. Luan entered and pointed outside. Your Excellency, Mr. Artisan wishes to meet you. Why is Artisan Why is Asterin here? He came to Amiris to seek his protection, or does he plan on making a desperate struggle? Klein narrowed his eyes slightly, realizing that he couldn't make a decision for Admiral Amiris. All right, here we go. I wonder what's gonna happen. What would he do after receiving a warning from the Twilight Hermit Order? He should already realize that the matter has been exposed. The target was long prepared, so with his conservative nature, it can be imagined that the decision would be. However, he greatly valued family. He provided some of Aston's Revdelt's interesting tidbits. It's not hard to tell that there's the concern and love for his younger brother in this matter. He doesn't like cannabis and tobacco. Drinking is just for socializing purposes. Apart from being a little caught up with a beautiful woman, there's nothing seriously wrong with him. He greatly values family. Klein's thoughts raced as he fully immersed himself in Amiris' identity, fully experiences his hidden feelings for his family and the importance he placed on it. Family. At that instant, he seemed to turn to Amiris, but he was able to analyze the various problems in a detached manner. After nearly 20 seconds of silence, Klein heard himself using a somewhat unfamiliar tone, saying, "Tell him that I have many matters to deal with. I don't have time to meet him. Also, buy him a ticket to Backland." Luan seems to have has expected it as he retracted his gaze and replied as though everything was normal. "Yes, Your Excellency." As he watched Luan leave the office to find Aston Rivdelt outside, Klein gently sighed like a real Amiris Rivdelt. He knew the Amiris would have made the same choice if he had returned early. This was family, something he valued greatly. With the scheme completely exposed, there was no way Amiris would have exhausted his last chip on the bet and placed his family at risk of destruction. Because family, right? You'd protect them. As long as he didn't participate in it, as long as he's still a demigod, the Revdelt family wouldn't suffer any overly serious damage, even if he isn't able to remain as the highest commander of the Central Sonia Sea. And to his great secretary to buy his tickets for him made it clear that Amiris still treated Aston as his brother. It was a warning to others not to harm him before they figure out what was happening. After nearly a minute, Luan returned and said, "Your Excellency, Mr. Aston has left." Amiris' great values family. Klein fell silent for 2 seconds before asking in a deep voice. His back-facing secretary, did he say anything? Luan answered truthfully. He said that you are indeed a cold person by nature. The corner of Kleinmouth's lips curled slightly as he produced an unfeeling smile. This was an instinctive reaction. However, with him completely in character as Amiris, he believed that the Admiral would have had the same reaction. The feeling and emotions were the same. For the rest of the time, Klein sat in his office and didn't meet anyone, nor did he deal with any official business. All he did was occasionally listen to the secretary report to him about the situation on Ararvi Island. Nothing happened until he arrived of the new Governor General. In the evening, he didn't attend the banquet he was supposed to attend, and he returned to his villa. All he saw was Cynthia walking towards him. He hugged her, then he calmly said, "Aston has been relieved of his position as general officer." All his signs and pain seemed to be condensed into a seemingly emotionless sentence. "I heard about it. It should be fine, right?" Cynthia asked anxiously. Klein closed his eyes and didn't mention it again. All he did was give a soft, terse reply. The sentence was the most obvious expression of his emotions as a stern, old-fashioned, and conservative high-ranking man. Next chapter, 627. All right, here we go. Do my timestamp. 1:07. Let me eat a chip, and then we'll keep reading. 32. Let's copy this bad boy. And then this. Finally? Finally what? Are we getting something important? Hold up. I know you guys were sitting at a 6:30. I assume shit's gonna hit the fan as we get deeper into the 5 nights on this ship. Wait, Cammy. Don't reveal exactly what kind of music yet. Oh, wait, hold up. Don't reveal what kind of music yet. But we will see if we're going to put gloomy music or action music. All right. I'm getting a little excited. When Klein wakes up from his dream, remember to stop reading there. All right, when he wakes up from his dream. All right. All right, we go. I'm going to loop the opera music for now, though. This music sounds fitting. I feel like this could fit. All right. 627. You guys ready? Chapter 627, late into the night. Cynthia could have vaguely sensed the deep pain and helpless inside Admiral Mears' heart. Without speaking further, she hugged him tightly and used her company to calm his mood. After a simple dinner, Klein took a hot bath, entered the quietest guest room once again. He got into bed and stared at the ceiling in a daze. Klein knew that with him having fully immersed himself into character of Admiral Mears, Mears' helplessness towards fate and the pain he needed to hide had resonated with his past experiences. If I hadn't figured out the concept of getting into character and being detached, then I might have lost control. This is like some actors in my past life. They got tuned to character and aren't unable to detach themselves from it, causing them to suffer from many mental problems, and to beyond their mental problems might end up magnified. As Klein wallowed in his gloom, he got to learn what kind of person he was. I never expected that a Navy admiral who enjoys his high-standing demigod saint would still be faced with such helpless and painful experiences. Strength can bring abundances, but it's not a solution to everything. Everyone wears masks, and this is the truest side of a demigod. Klein watched as the crimson moonlight turned brighter, dyeing all the furniture in the room red. At that moment, through the resonating feelings with Admiral Mears' experience and the constraining differences, as well as the experiences from his previous acting, Klein established a more multifaceted and realistic image of Mears. He also gained a clearer picture of his blurry self, a person who is very sentimental, a person from Earth, but to a certain extent, a person who can be reconstructed, and a new person because of the fusion with Klein Moretti's family's fragments. A person who didn't spend too much time with the Nighthawks, but has had that period of time deeply influence his actions and the choices. I'm reading wrong. A person who tries to play safe and is afraid of danger is also able to change his mind at critical moments. A person who truly wants to ski, eat delicious food, travel, and enjoy life has no choice but to be busy with more important matters. A person who likes beautiful women, but he doesn't give himself up pleasure to keep his principles. A person who loves money, but is willing to spend large sums of money for his siblings. A person who hides his pain inside a wall, showing a smile to others. A person... I'm sorry, he's digesting his potion. This is getting way too specific. He is digesting his potion. All right, hold up. A person who used to lampooning inwardly but apparently gently on the surface. A person who can overcome his psychological traumas but never crosses his bottom line. A person who feels embarrassed from his acting. He's also a guardian, a miserable wrench that is constantly fighting against the threats of madness. The corners of... Oh, I'm crying. The corner of Klein's mouth curled up as he silently added, these thoughts flashed through his mind as he seemed to come into contact with his true self. Damn, man. Damn, man. That quote goes so hard. Without realizing it, Klein fell asleep, his body and mind at peace. So we're changing music after we wake up, okay? Inside the master... Oh, what is it? Why are you guys making me change the music? Now we're with Cynthia. I'm kind of scared, dude. I'm scared to see what's going to happen with her. Inside the master bedroom, Cynthia had fallen asleep. She was dressed in a nightgown with her legs bare. She had a few layers of her blanket in between her legs as she gently grinned against them. Her hands subconsciously scratched her skin, forming red streaks across them as tiny bumps were produced. In her dream, she saw the illusionary and surreal cosmos, as well as a bright star that emitted its light at her. Her vision was pulled closest to it as she could slowly discern the star. A star, a light. One of the pure lights? Bro, didn't catch what she's been doing? Bro, is she like... I'm sorry. She was dressed in a nightgown with her legs bare. She had a few layers of her blanket in between her legs, and she Oh. I didn't catch that. She had a few layers of her blanket in between her legs as she gently grinded against them. Okay. She gently grinded against them. Her hands subconsciously scratched her skin, forming red streaks across them as tiny... Okay, now we know what she's doing. Okay. In her dream, she saw the illusionary and surreal cosmos, as well as the bright star that emitted its light at her. Her vision was pulled closely as it was slowly discerned herself. Klein suddenly... Oh, woke up. Okay, hold up. Klein woke up. Shadow Lord Compart, and you might not want to read out loud for the next... Whoa. Shadow Lord? What do you mean Shadow Lord? Wait. Can someone link that and check? Because my Discord is not opening up. My Discord is still not fucking working. I'm just getting a black screen. Well, I can't use general. Can Romero or D link it? Thank you. Yeah, I don't know why Discord isn't opening. Oh, here we go. Oh, fuck you guys. What the fuck is going on? Oh, hell fucking no. Nah, this isn't good. I don't like this. I don't like that we're playing this song right now. I don't like that we're playing this song. Oh, okay. Klein suddenly awoke from his dream and he still had indescribable scenes still seemingly burned into his eyes. Okay, why did I have such a dream? He frowned as he turned his head in disbelief. Just now, not only did he had dreamed of Cynthia, who was dressed in a silk nightgown, but he also had a sexual relationship with her. He even dreamed of the naked body of the demoness of pleasure, Sharon, the exquisite doll-like Miss Sharon, Miss Justice, who looks, well, relatively blurry, Trishy Cheek, Tracy, and all the beautiful women he had met before. Then he gave himself up to pleasure as he engaged in admired positions. He gave himself up to pleasure as he engaged himself in admired positions. To most beyonders of and ordinary people, this might have been a normal response for suppressing his body when recently faced with temptations, but as a seer, a dream had a very special meaning. Klein quickly observed his body and realized that he was still bricked up. Blank flooding out from his blank and causing stains everywhere. Oh shit, he had one of those dreams. I don't know how to read this right now. This isn't a seer dream. This isn't a seer dream revelation, but the result of an external influence. Oh my god, it's an enemy. Oh, we got a demoness up in here, huh? There's an enemy. Klein was alarmed as he quickly made up his mind. At the same time, he cautiously got out of bed and quickly changed into a Admiral uniform. This way, he had the 9th flaw charm and creeping hunger on him, equipping him with potent self-preserving powers. As he wasn't clear of the present situation, Klein did an attempt to head above the gray fog. He continued viewing himself as the Emiris. With his state expression, Klein carefully walked to the door and reached out of his hand to grab the handles. At an instant, he seemed to finally find the connection with the real world, and he heard the chaos and din outside the door. What the fuck is going on? All right, hold up. Let me fix the audio. Okay, I don't know what the fuck is going on. For me, I need to have the music really low. Hold up. I don't know what the fuck is going on. I'm getting a little scared. All right, let's keep reading. There were clear... Oh, no. There were clear chewing sounds, debaucherous moaning, angry roaring, and sharp urgings. Oh, no. What happened to Cynthia? What exactly happened? Everything was normal just a moment ago. Klein gulped a mouthful of saliva as he used cognition to maintain the necessary calm. He had been using spirit vision to observe the situation outside of the villa every day and had not discovered any problems. Where are the Admiral bodyguards? Where's Secretary Lewan? Klein found the entire ordeal strange and terrifying the more he considered the situation before him. He touched the 9th flaw charm with one hand and made the deep, domineering aura emanate, representing the unease that was wafting through the air. Exerting strength in his left hand, Klein twisted the handle and opened the door. Before he took a step forward, he saw the red-vested attendant sitting opposite of him. The attendant had many cooked and raw food placed in front of him. There were steak, mutton, dragon bone fish, and Rarvi lobster. At this moment, the attendant picked up a huge fish that seemed to have just stopped struggling, raised his head, and smiled at Klein with a turbid look. Admiral, I have always envied your food. His stomach was different from before. It was bloated as if though he was 7 or 8 months pregnant. Oh, what the fuck, dude. Hell no, man. Just as he said that, the attendant raised his arms and bit into the raw dragon's bonefish, forcefully ripping out a piece of thick flesh. Oh, hell no. I don't even want that emoji in here anymore. Oh, shit. Fresh red blood dripped from the corners of his mouth As his chewing sounded sent a chill down Klein's back. The attendant hurriedly gulped as he swallowed the food in his mouth. His bloated stomach trembled as though he would blow up at any moment. Oh, fuck this shit, dude. This is the instinctive reaction to restrict one's appetite. Klein observed the attendant carefully, and for some reason he recalled the tramp stand-in who had died of a sudden illness due to groggings. He didn't spend too much time thinking of making attempts to rescue the attendant who was ravishly consuming the food. This was because he knew that nothing would be effective unless he resolved the matters at its roots. Klein moved... what's going to happen to Cynthia? Klein moved his feet and followed his spiritual intuition's guidance, carefully walking towards the master bedroom. At the door, there were two maidservants. One of them was sitting on the other as she bent her back, strangling the other by the neck. What the fuck? Wearing a beaming smile, she shook the maidservant beneath her. She hurriedly urged her, quickly praise me. Quickly praise me? She desires acknowledgement. Klein frowned and took a few steps closer, grabbing onto the collar of the maidservant at the very top. He threw the maidservant to the other side of the wall, slamming her to the wall with a force strong enough to make anyone faint. However, this didn't prevent the maidservant from getting to her feet. The maidservant in the bottom kept yawning without opening her eyes. Even though her neck was being wrangled, she appeared as though she hadn't had enough sleep. The fuck is going on, bro? Such a scene. Klein instantly had the urge to escape and seek help from the church or military. However, the strongest person of the Arroyo Island was none other than Admiral Ramirez, him. And I'm Ramirez at that moment. However, once the situation turns for the worse, I should flee when the timing calls for it. I shouldn't act at the cost of my life. Klein pushed open the ajar master bedroom door, his scalp tingling with numbness. Bro, go save Katlia. The first thing he heard behind the door was... Oh, shit, dude. The first thing he heard behind the door was pleasurable mooning. I'm not gonna say the full. I don't know. I'm trying to juggle these words. Mooning that gave itself up to one's primordial instincts. Following that, a smell that made his heart race and blood gushing to his nether regions, inundating his olfactory senses. In addition, there was an electric mix of all sorts of bodily fluids. The scene of indulging pleasure couldn't help but surface in Klein's mind. Right on the heels of that, Klein saw the blonde secretary Luan. He stood by the door, looking inside with an overlooking and cold manner. His arrogance was extremely real. Upon sensing someone enter, he turned his head and discovered it was Admiral Ramirez. His expression and gaze didn't change, as though he was looking at an ordinary, unimportant person. This secretary is usually very reverent, but he's actually such a prideful person. Klein originally wanted to question Luan, who seemed to possess some reason, but he saw him shift his gaze to look into the middle of the master bedroom from a height. He only looks normal. Klein traced Luan's gaze and discovered a fair body that was 3 meters tall in the middle of the master bedroom. 9 feet? It had brownish freaking... This is so bad, dude. It had brownish green lumps growing on its surface that resembled 3 warts. Some parts were cracked open, revealing organs that resembled flowers. It had the bodyguards and the male attendants gathering around as they either stood or knelt, prostrating or floating as they mated with organs? They either stood or knelt, prostrating or floating as they mated with those organs, letting out deep grunting sounds. The other bodyguards and maidservants of varying numbers were scattered across the carpet, enjoying each other's bodies to their heart's content. In addition, 3 warts and flowers grew. I now understood why you guys were sending flowers earlier. I saw the 2 roses Merlin sent. In addition, 3 warts and flowers grew from the tall, fair body, as well as brown branches that extended out as they branches, mother of tree, branches, hold up, flowers, branches that extended out as they participated in every prominent act of pleasure with the people present. Oh my god, this is because this is the mother tree. She's fucking with Katlia. I'm out. No, bro. What kind of monster incest? Klein had his knowledge of mysticism overturned once again. He lowered his left palm and prepared for battle. At this moment, the terrifying body, which towered 3 meters tall, turned a head over. It has to be Katlia. Not Katlia, Cynthia. It was a female. She had blonde hair and blue eyes. She had a high nose bridge and plump lips. She was none other than the beautiful Cynthia with hints of her youthfulness. As for the tree branches that danced while the flowers opened, Cynthia looked down at Klein with flushed cheeks as she said with hints of embarrassment, Admiral, I want to have a child with you. Oh my god. Oh, this is so gross. I feel so bad for Cynthia. Fucking cuttlefish, bro. Why? Why is it always the people that want to be pregnant? Like, oh my god, man. This is like, it's so gross. Easy, I want to have a child. Okay, shit, fuck up, Maryland. It's fucking gross. I don't want kids. Fuck them kids. Fuck them kids, man. Shit. Look at this. I'm tweaking out over here. IDK, what was Cuttlefish was thinking with creating... I'm sorry, does he actually have kids in real life? Because my whole body is like... I'm fucking squirming, dude. Like, look, I'm just like involuntarily shaking, dude. Dude. Music change again? Bro, what do we even play now at this point? It has to be a fight, right? Oh, let me eat a fucking chip, dude. I need to digest that. We need battle music, right? I fucking love body horror. It's so fucking gross, man. Just imagine the protrude smell. Fucking. At first you're like, oh, it smells so beautiful. And then you're like, what the fuck? Let me eat one more. Hey, I just realized something. We passed Wiz, dude. We passed him. High five, brothers. There you go. High five. Fuck, that's gross. It's fucking nasty, man. Yeah, we read a lot. We started at 6:14 today, by the way. Do my timestamp. Dude, thank you for subscribing. Thank you for joining the family. I don't know how to feel. Like, I feel so uncomfortable, bro. All right, now we can play this. Wait. I think right here is good. This is good. Right here, this is good. All right, here we go. Let's restart it, and then we'll read as we loop it. All right. Chapter 628. It's called Prohibition. Upon seeing Cynthia's huge, fair body with tree warts and flowers growing on it as though she was a tree, I'm sorry, is this mother tree... This has to be part of the planter pathway. Like, ain't no shot, bro. Like, this has to be, like, in some correlation to the planter pathway. But let's keep reading. Upon seeing Cynthia's huge, fair body with tree warts and flowers growing on it as though she was a tree, as well as hearing her shy, reluctant requests, Klein couldn't help but shudder as his hair stood on end. Such a scene exceeded a horror conceivable by human imagination. He had never encountered something like this even in his dreams. If he were himself back when facing Magoose and Tingen, I think this is even more gross than Magoose. Or this is like on the same scale, dude. If it were himself back when facing Megusentingen, Klein definitely would have been affected by such a scene. He would have temporarily lost his ability to react due to the horror and panic, but after experiencing so much, he was so what? I'm reading wrong. But after experiencing so much, he was an experienced beyonder in the true sense of the word. And the moment that Cynthia's words entered his ears, the glove on his left hand had already changed. It had turned black, emitting a noble and sinister feeling. This meant that Klein had activated creeping hunger and had switched to Worm-tongue Mither Soul, giving him the powers of a Baron's corruptions. At the instant he distorted Cynthia's words, turning, Admiral, I want to have a child with you. You, Admiral, I only wish to have a child with... Admiral, I want to have a child with you. Admiral, I only wish to have a child with you. This way, Klein believed that the bodyguards and the male attendants around the tree-like monster would be pushed away, far away by Cynthia after having her will distorted, giving them a chance for a breather. As for whether he would expose himself as a fake Admiral Mears, he didn't care. At this moment, anyone who was still bothered about whether the true acting would be successful would definitely be someone with a serious case of obsessive-compulsive disorder, and he clearly wasn't. In addition, the environment with all sorts of desires being magnified to the limit, Klein suspected that the others had been influenced, weren't paying attention to the battle or the actual situation. The Baron of Corruption's distortions powers were acting silently, but Klein was appalled to discover that nothing changed with Cynthia or the men's actions. They weren't affected at all? What do you mean? I've already used distortion. Wait, let me close this part. I've already used distortion. The mutated Cynthia is able to directly resist such an influence. Klein's pupils constricted as he hurriedly jumped to the side. A brown tree branch sprouted out from where he was standing as a sticky flower bloomed at its tip. The flower was abnormally large. As it bloomed, it seemed like it was about to swallow a person whole. Although Klein had never seen a cannibalistic flower in the southern continent's rainforests, he didn't believe that they were any less terrifying or ridiculous as one of them before. Similar branches drilled out from the walls, floor, and ceiling as they chased after Klein with their moist flowers. Let me lower the volume a bit. With their moist flowers. During this process, the flowers bit down on Secretary Luan's head, as well as... so I guess he wasn't the spy. I guess Luan wasn't part of the Twilight Hermit Order. It's so fucking gross, dude. Similar branches drilled out from the walls. During this process, the flowers bit down on Secretary Luan's head, as well as the bodyguards, male attendants, and maidservants, who were gyranting in pleasure on the surrounding carpet. Now I feel bad for suspecting him. Wait, I'm sorry. Did chat freeze? Dude, chat was frozen for like 5 minutes, bro. We were wrong about you, Luan. Wait, hold up. Music. The last thing I saw was music change now. You're stress eating. What the fuck? Chat did not load until right now. It did not load for like 5 minutes. Everybody was quiet. I thought everybody was locked in. Easy, from when after D sent the link for the new song. Easy, you're stressing out. Congrats, you're ahead. Easy. Full name is Mother Tree of Desires. My bad, Brett. Nah, it's okay. It's Luan. Rip Luan. Yeah, I don't know why chat was frozen for like 5 minutes, but it's fucking gross. I've already used distortion. The mutated Cynthia is able to directly resist such an influence. Klein's pupils constricted as he hurriedly jumped to the side. A brown tree branch sprouted out from where he was standing as a sticky flower bloomed at its tip. The flower was abnormally large. As it bloomed, it seemed like it was about to swallow a person whole. Although Klein had never seen I read this part. Where was the fucking Luan part? Similar branches drove the During this part, the flowers bit down on Secretary Luan's head, as well as the bodyguards, male attendants, and maidservants who were gyrating in pleasure on the... Oh, my God. Who were gyrating in pleasure on the surrounding carpet. At this moment, having learned the lesson that the distortion power would be resisted, Klein didn't hesitate to pull out his right hand, a dark golden high-level charm clasped tightly in his palm. Ninth flaw. He originally didn't plan on using the charm so quickly, and it wasn't because he couldn't bear to use it, but he wished to engage in a longer battle. They're all flowers. Flowers equal plants, reproductive. Now we're getting down to the biology, bro. Shit. He originally didn't plan on using the charm so quickly. It wasn't because he couldn't bear to use it, but he wished to engage in a long battle to determine what Cynthia was good at after mutating into a monster. Only then, this is getting gross. It's getting hard to read this. Only then could he target her weakness. After all, the ninth law was unable to make a general prohibition, and the clause had to be sufficiently specific. For example, it couldn't make beyond powers ineffective in the area, but it could specify the nullification of a special beyond power. To use it to its fullest, he needs to observe careful and make sound judgment. However, the present situation was forcing Klein to use his trump card, otherwise he suspected that he had no means of damaging this tree-like monster. And the Line Flaw Charms isn't able to create an environment that allows him to kill the monster. I'll have to immediately escape from the villa. With its help, I will lead Cynthia outside and find a chance to spray. I'll use the Seek Out Scepter above the Grey Fog too. Yeah. Bombarded with attacks, just as though the thought flashed in his mind, Klein, who had been constantly jumping amidst the attacking tree branches and flowers, solemnly chanted a word in ancient Hermes. Law. Bro has to read this again when taking notes. I don't even want to read this anymore. I feel so bad for Cynthia, dude. Like, she just wanted to have a child with someone she married. And, like, I mean, yes, she was trying to do it to secure her family, but, like, as the activation incantation resounded, like even she went through all this courage and this happens to her. As the activation incantation resounded, the golden charm in Klein's palm instantly turned ice cold. It was a coldness that seemed to make one lose any emotions. At that instant, Klein reached an extremely calm state. In that moment, he threw out the ninth flaw charm. His thoughts rapidly surfaced as he considered what to prohibit. She is the mistress? Well, yeah. She's not. Oh, my bad. She's the mistress, not married. My bad. She's been the mistress for like 1 or 2 years. Got it. Yeah, she definitely got more than she bargained for. His first reaction was to prohibit the generation of any desires, but he knew that it was too general. Therefore, he thought of changing to the desire to procreate after Cynthia's desires was to have a child with Admiral Ramirez. The influence she had on her surrounding was... I can just imagine it, man. If, like, Cynthia were to win this and it was actually him... If Cynthia actually got the Admiral, this would be, like, crazy-ass body horror. Like, The influence she had on her surroundings was a result of this, just as the ninth flaw charm was flying in midair, turning into bits of dark golden beams of light that scattered into the surroundings. Klein suddenly thought of a problem. Cynthia was only an ordinary person prior to this. This is a certain fact. Over the past 3 nights, Klein had used spirit vision, divination, and other methods to repeatedly confirm that Cynthia wasn't beyond her. Yeah, but like... Similarly, she would have long been discovered by Admiral Ramirez, who could distinguish between ordinary people and beyonders. Therefore, her sudden transformation into a mutated monster was a problem he needed to pay close attention to. Could it be like Magoo? She became a vessel of an evil god. So, okay, yeah, she's definitely an evil god. She's definitely an evil god, Mother Earth of Desire. She became a vessel of an evil god's descent through some form of ritual. No, if there's a ritual, it's impossible for me to discover it. My spiritual intuition would have been warned me to not activate my spirit vision. Oh yeah, like don't look directly at God. And to not look straight at Cynthia. It's some item or trait on her body that has an external force projected on her. All this literally happened when she drank the mummy powder. When she drank the female mummy powder. If she just didn't drink that mummy powder, everything would have been okay. Therefore, there weren't any problems the previous 2 nights until she suddenly mutated today. Regardless, the terror from her comes from somewhere else and not her body. Klein quickly made a judgment into 2 seconds. Without any hesitation, he seized the opportunity and said in a solemn tone, "This place is prohibited for having any interaction with the outside world." Yeah, that wasn't... Yeah, she did partake in her desires. And I feel like that was probably like a requirement or a trigger needed for like the Mother Tree of Desire to like manifest herself like through Cynthia. The ancient Hermes words, which were filled with mystery, instantly spread out as dark golden light scattered everywhere and intertwined with the countless law-like symbols and magic labels from merging into the void. Hum. There was suddenly a light hum in Klein's ears as he seemed to see the formless light filled with desires get expelled out from the room. Immediately following that, the illusionary and resplendent cosmos appeared before his eyes. There were points of bright stars, my bad, it's 2 paws, not 3. Klein's eyes burst as fluids of mixture of blood and plasma gushed out horrendously. Although he had used the ninth flaw charm to isolate any external influence, the level of the powder was extremely high. Just a normal level of recoil was enough to penetrate the nature protection of a high-level charm and burst his eyes. This damage came abruptly without any warning signs. Klein didn't even have the chance to use paper figurine substitutes, just like Marionette's Rozongo from back then. If not for the knife... I'm sorry. I'm forgetting. I'm already forgetting because I'm so grossed out. How did we obtain the ninth flaw charm again? I'm starting to forget shit already. Because this is grossing me out. I'm already forgetting the origins of how we obtained the ninth flaw charm. Was this given to him? His eyes might... was this what he made? His eyes... his mind has not been able to... only things that burst. He might have turned into a monster just like Cynthia. Yeah, Amirs gave it to him, right? Okay. My God. Meanwhile, the tree-like Cynthia came to stop as her body began crumbling, turning into flesh and blood with brownish green warts. Now, I've had, pimples in the last few days. Now I'm grossing out. Ugh. Meanwhile, the tree-like Cynthia came to stop as her body began crumbling, turning into flesh and blood with brownish green warts. The surrounding bodyguards and male attendants plopped to the ground unconscious. Ooh. Cynthia's head was embedded in the blob of flesh as she muttered to herself, Admiral, I want to have a child with you. Admiral, I want to have a child with you. She tried hard to extend the remaining tree branches of the ceiling and walls. Binding Klein, who was still in a dazed state, a result of the recoil, and she had pulled him towards herself. This is a crazy. This is, oh my God. This I think this is top 10. The moment Klein recovered a little, this is like something you would like. If this were to be a Volume 3 finale, I'd be okay with it. Like this is reminding me of how Volume 1 ended with Magoose, like all twisted and like corrupted. My God. The moment Klein recovered a little, he immediately began struggling desperately. Despite his attempts to snap his fingers to light a fire or switch the powers of creeping hunger, he failed because his hands and arms were bound tightly. With the help of his clown's powers, he saw the brownish-green warts approach. Stirred, Klein changed his appearance, turned his appearance from Admiral Mirrors to German Sparrow, a German Sparrow with bleeding eyes. The binding tree branches paused as the Mysterious released their hold. They began flailing everywhere as though in an attempt to grab onto something. Cynthia's head was filled with disappointment and confused as she muttered, Admiral, where did you go? Admiral, where did you go? Without the external force to continue the resistance, she finally only had the thoughts of having a child with the Emirs. Thanks to the Barons of Corruption's distortion. Thanks to the Baron of Corruption's distortion, this made her release German Sparrow. Klein flipped to his feet and covered his eyes with his right hand and pulled downward abruptly, moving the horrendous move towards his left shoulder. As his left shoulder became mangled, creeping hunger was tainted with pure and resplendent glow. Klein looked at Cynthia's head in the pile of flesh and blood with pity as he spread out his arms. A holy flame which swirled around a pillar of pure light descended from the sky, enveloping the monster. What the fuck? A holy flame which swirled around a pillar pure of light descended from the sky, enveloping the monster that had been reduced to flesh and blood. Hey, brother! Hey, what's up, bro? We're at 629, dude. Bro, don't wait. Hard stop, spoilers. That is so gross, dude. Don't worry, I'm gonna just read 2 more chapters and then we're done. So fucking gross, dude. I have like about 100 chapters to finish the series, right? Alright, I'm gonna go. But goddamn, how many chapters did you read? We started at 6:14. So we've read a little over 15 so far. In like 4 hours? And we've been live for like a little over 4 hours. It's so gross. I'm so uncomfortable today. Romero said it. I'm literally fucking stress eating. Oh, you missed the dream, bro. You're good, bro. 16 chapters. You plan on reading. You're a goddamn legend. No, I'm sorry. Don't worry. I'll stop streaming in a bit, Wiz. I know I got you. Oh, people are gonna love when you stream today. They're gonna love it, bro. You better fucking buckle up, bro. Get some tissues. For when you're stress eating, you can like clean your hands. Oh, bullseye? No, it's not a skill shoot. That's good, bro. I went too hard at the gym yesterday. I can't fully bend my arm. Bro, that's how you know, dude. You did good at the gym if you're like this. Oh man. I know it's nasty. It's No, I'm in tissues for when you're done eating, Romero. So you can clean your hands. Look. I got red tipped hands. I need some milk. All right, Wiz, we're gonna read more. No. It's I think I'm gonna just read 2 more chapters and just start uploading all these videos, and I'll probably go live like maybe later. Ah, my God. Hold up, let me eat like 2 more chips. I'll be honest with you, hold up. I am kind of too locked in to stop reading. I kind of do want to keep reading. Bro, I've been in fucking bulk mode for like 2 months, man. My fat ass has gained so much weight. I've lost so much progress. Oh. No. This is good. Like, I got my muffin tops came back, right? My muffin top came back, and I gotta work on my chest, bro. Oh my God, I lost so much progress. All right, let's fucking... Yeah, I'm too locked in to stop reading. I kind of want to keep fucking reading. I feel like I can read till 6:40. Why is it whenever I come back, we get this view of Easy? Oh, man. It is fate is preordained. Timestamp. 1 hour. 37 minutes. 1 second. Next chapter? No, I'm not flexing. I lost progress. I gotta get back in shape. Give me like 4 months. Chapter 629 is called Naturism Sect. What the? We have another evil organization. Naturism Sect. Amidst the holding being of light, having already lost its support from the external power, the tree warts and flesh rapidly disintegrated. It was like snow meeting a red-hot metal ball. Amidst the indescribable sizzle sounds, Cynthia's face winced as abnormal agony showed itself on her face. She turned around with great difficulty, looking up and down as her expressions turned horrified and confused. Finally, she realized that there was a problem with her. Admiral, wait, hold up. I think I can change the music. Let me just play the calm part now. I'm gonna just play the calm part. Yeah, I'll play just the calm part now. Admiral, her voice trembled as she looked ahead with fear and despair, but all she could find was an unfamiliar place. Klein could have fed creeping hunger with Cynthia's remnant's flesh and spirit body, but at that moment he sighed and said with a calm voice, "Try not to make contact with strange artifacts or religions in the future." From his point of view, the reason why Cynthia had turned into this monstrosity either had to do with a cult or some particularly dangerous artifact. It's probably the necklace she fucking had, man. She had connected with some existence which could have looked at directly resulting in such a response. Cynthia seemed to understand something as her remnant head and tiny bit of flesh suddenly swept. It's the mother tree of desire, the naturalism sect. Admiral, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. Save me, save me. Mother tree of desire, naturalism sect. This isn't within the confines of my knowledge of mysticism. Klein maintained his expression as he looked fearfully at the pleading Cynthia. He spread his arms again and said in a deep voice, "Death is not the end. You will be redeemed when you are at God's side." Another pure beam of light landed as Cynthia's beautiful weeping face completely fixed in place. Her eyes widened in despair, but there were remnant hopes of being sent to heaven after death. Damn, man. I'm choking up. Under the sun's radiance, her brain and remnant flesh melted away at a screaming pace. By vanishing, it had obtained its final rite of cleansing. Klein looked silently at the scene without any expression or movement. After everything calmed down, he curled the corner of his lips and chuckled, finding it hard to hide his sorrow. This is really a crazy and chaotic world. Fuck, man. This is really a crazy and chaotic world. He didn't dare to channel Cynthia's spirit after what had happened. The many oddities had made him abandon the thought of bringing Cynthia's spirit body above the great fog to inquire. Faced it with the irremovable evil and the ever worsening corruption, he could only choose to have Cynthia be cleansed. After all that, in the world with true gods, there might be existence a heaven after earth. After all, in this world with true gods, there might exist a heaven after death. As for creeping hunger's backlash, Klein was temporarily not concerned. After spending a long time with it, the mystical item, which had been sealed to a certain extent, had adjusted to him. It didn't need to be fed after every use. It had been restored to its original state. Once it was activated, it just needed to eat once in a 24-hour period, regardless of how many times it was used. Of course, there was no need for it to be fed on the day it wasn't used. Therefore, Klein had plenty of time to seek out food for creeping hunger without harming an innocent. If worse comes to worst, I can throw it above the great fog. Klein surveyed his surroundings, and he realized that the bodyguards and the female most servants attendants in the room had shaken off the influence of their magnified desires, and they had fallen unconscious. This included the maidservant who was strangling her companion in a bid to obtain her approval and praise, as well as the blonde secretary Luan. Indeed, once the problem is resolved at its root, everything will come to an end. According to the Admiral Mirror's descriptions, Luan is at least a sequence beyond her, and he is suspected to be a baron of corruption. He might have secretly reached sequence 5. Even he was so easily controlled by this magnified desires, which means that the power of the descendant with the help of Cynthia is extremely potent. But why did I only have a wet dream? Because of the great fog. So his desire... Oh, so Klein's... You see, Klein's desire is to finally fall in love with someone. You see, his real desire deep down in his heart is, of course, sex, right? In this world, right? Because he's probably alone and scared and going through so much. And he's been through a lot of trauma, so that is justified. But he probably misses, like, affection. Like, he probably wants someone. Yeah, so it's the reason he only had that dream was because of the Great Fog. Ignoring my mystical items, Luan and I should be at the same level. Is it because a portion of the Great Fog's power, when mixed with reality, provided me with help? Literally, he had auto VPN, or he literally had auto NordVPN. No, he had auto like a virus protector. Is it because of the restriction from the Admiral Mirish's temporarily contract, or could it be a mix of both? Yes, if it wasn't because of these factors, as Cynthia's primarily target, my desires towards sex would definitely be magnified. This wouldn't just be me having a romantic dream. Klein habitually reached out with his right hand to cover his face as it changed once again back into Amir's Rift Dance appearance. As the lives of the others were temporarily under threat, he carefully observed the room when the spiritual perception was suddenly triggered. Taking a few steps forward, Klein came to where Cynthia had vanished. He bent down and picked up a necklace from a pile of torn clothes on the bed. A pendant that was the length of a finger segment hung from her necklace. It was completely black in color and looked like a miniaturized rhinoceros's horn. Its surface was full and covered in cracks. Apart from exuding evil, there were no lesser spirituality activated. This is the dangerous item that had caused Cynthia to mutate, as it had connected to the existence which could be looked directly. It had complicated its mission, allowing all its powers to be injected into Cynthia's body. Klein made a preliminary conjecture based on the pendant situation from his past experiences. He checked the area and found nothing. Hence, he pulled out a paper figurine and dealt with the traces left behind. He dispelled the prohibition from the charm before walking towards the Secretary Luan, who still had some sense of corruption due to temporarily being devoured by the flowers. He raised his knee and kicked him a few times with the tips of his shoes. Wait, by the way, man, if you guys have any artwork on this, please send it on Discord. Send it on Discord. I'll look at it on my phone. I know this is a not safe. This is not a not safe for work channel, but if there's like any like not safe for work artwork on this, I need you guys to send it to me. Okay, like I don't mean it in that way. I don't mean it in the freaky way. But like I need you guys to send any like known fan art on this because I'm too scared to look this shit up. I don't know if I'm gonna get spoilers. You sure you want to see? I want to see this. If there's any artwork out there, I want to see it. I want to see how fucked up this shit is. Are you sure? Fuck yeah, man. Send this shit. Send it. Send it on Discord. This is the only time you want artwork about this and was telling Wiz to get tissue. Hey. Wait. Yeah, I was joking and then I recover the joke by saying because you're going to be eating and you need to clean your hands. No, but if there's any artwork on how crazy this shit was, send it. I want to make if there's artwork on how Cynthia looks, I'm gonna make that this time work. I take it back. You are not innocent, bro. Got corrupted. No. For science. I'll look at it later though on my phone because Discord isn't working. Actually, let me finish this chapter. I'm gonna see if I can open up Discord in like a different mode. There's one I sent. Okay, I'll look at it right now. No, I just want to look at it. Guys, chill, bro. Chill. My desires are to catch up with this series, okay? For research. Yeah, like how Klein said, for pure scientific research. When he's like, Helen, how big are they? For scientific reasons. Oh, man. Let me find my place. He checked the area and found nothing, hence he pulled a paper figuring and dealt with the traces left behind. He dispelled the prohibition from the charm before walking towards the Secretary Luan, who still had some signs of corruption due to temporarily being devoured by flowers. He raised his knees and kicked him a few times with the tip of his shoes. With Amiris' character, it's unlikely that he would crouch down to shake his secretary awake. This fellow's arrogant way of looking down on others sure is irritating. I really want to beat him up. Klein paused as he watched sternly, and Luan gradually woke up. Your Excellency, Luan was momentarily dazed, as he couldn't tell a dream from reality. As a high-ranking superior, I'm under no obligation to explain. Klein looked down at him and said in a voice, wake up all the lightly injured people. Get a number of them to treat the remaining people while the others are to investigate the naturalism sect on Nararvi Island. They worship an evil god named Mother Tree of Desire. Start the investigation with the people around Cynthia. I'll be waiting the study from the report. With that said, he held the cracked rhinoceros.
With that said, he held the cracked rhinoceros.
What the fuck did I say? Rhinoceros? Rhinoceros's horn pendants and turned to leave the master bedroom before entering the unaffected silent study. As an important member of the military, although he was somewhat helpless when faced with the kingdom's upper echelons, he needed to choose to ignore certain matters. An example was the telegram which revealed Aston from his post as Governor General and the arrival of the new Governor General. This meant that the new Governor General had departed ahead of time. Yet, as the highest ranking commander of the Central Sonia Sea Navy, Amiris Rivdelt had not received the news at all. However, on Ovari Island, the Secretary Luan and the local police system and the naval-based personnel, he still had absolute authority. He didn't need to do the investigations himself, and he had plenty of people at his disposal. A demigod only needed to be wary of an accident and await news. There was no need to busy themselves. Inside the study, as Klein heard the chaotic sound of footsteps or horrified screams, questioning and exchanges, he couldn't help but have the cosmos and the bright lustrous star in his mind. What does this represent? Klein frowned and sat in the armchair behind the desk. His figure sank into the darkness and brought about by the curtains. He soon made certain connections due to the legends from the city of Silver and Emmeline White's description of the Sanguine situation. He confirmed that the moon pathway controlled a portion of the authority over reproduction and proliferation. This coincided with Cynthia's intentions and actions. Cosmos. Mr. Doors informed Ember Rizal that the goddesses corresponding to the tarot card is the star and not the moon. What does this mean? Hold up. What are we getting at now? Could it be that the illusionary cosmos represents her? Yes, the primordial moon is suspected to be a particular deity, angel, or a high-level devil's alternate identity. The goddess has the honorific name of the Crimson Moon. Could she be the one passing herself off as a primordial moon and occupying the corresponding? So we're suspecting the primordial tree of the tree of desire. Primordial moon are occupying the corresponding spot as to control the required authority. Although Klein knew that such thoughts were sacrilegious, he couldn't help but suspect the Evernight Goddess. Maybe Evernight Goddess isn't a good guy. Maybe she's an actual bad guy and we just don't know yet. Oh wait, but he soon rejected the conjecture. This was because, be it vampire answers to Lilith or the primordial moon, what they projected was only reproduction and proliferation. It didn't include recognition or gluttony, pride, and desire. This was at odds with a number of victims earlier. The other honorific titles of the Evernight Goddess didn't include the corresponding domains. This does concede with the traits of the devil pathway. A desire apostle as an expert in such matters. Could the one subjugating the primordial moon be a high-level devil, or even the king of devils? If there's kings of angels, there's kings of devils. Kings of devils who's known as the dark side of the universe, sequence 0 abyss. This is very possible, but the problem with this is that it shouldn't produce the illusionary cosmos and bright stars. Be it moon or abyss, they have nothing to do with the corresponding symbols. Klein found his conjecture problematic the more he thought over the matter. Amidst his thoughts, he suddenly thought of a concept. It was something important back when he was first educated in mysticism, but he had never received a detailed description of the explanation. This was the astral world. Apart from the life school of thought and a few other organizations' beliefs in uncommon concepts, such as the world or absolute rationality, most schools of thought and mysticism believe that the world was composed of the real world, spirit world, and the astral world. There was no need to explain the real world. Knowledge of the spirit world was the foundation of many ritualistic magic and beyond her powers. It was only the astral world where Klein's knowledge about it was basically zero. Therefore, the illusionary cosmos represents the illusionary cosmos. This is new. The illusionary cosmos represents the astral world. The bright stars in a particular existence is the astral world. The bright stars in a particular existence is the astral world. I've always suspected that the astral world is where the true gods reside. Then this imagery, which represents the primordial moon, is something unexpected. Klein didn't think further as he recalled the details of the past few days while awaiting the results of the subordinate's investigation. Time ticked by when finally he heard a familiar gate approach. Secretary Luan knocked before entering. He bowed his head and coldly reported, "Your Excellency, we've already found the Naturism sect and the fuck, that quick? We've already found the Naturism sect and captured their leader. It was a clue provided by Miss Cynthia's parents. The sect has been rather active in Rarvi over the past few years. They do not wear clothes in a bid to return to nature." Okay, that'd be an easy way to find them. Yeah, my volume 2 notes are done. Yeah, no, volume 2 notes are over. Now we can start 3. Giving themselves up. I'm just gonna remove all the notes I've been taking on the abilities and pathways, and that'll be like during volume 3. And in bid to return to nature, giving themselves up to their instincts is their purpose, and they believe that humans can attain liberation of their spirituality in such states. Reproduction of the next generation is a subsidiary product of this belief. After pausing for a moment, Luan added, "Their leader is the Beyonder, a Sequence 8 lunatic." Sequence 8 lunatic. I'm trying to remember what this is. Lunatic. A lunatic from the prisoner pathway. Prisoner lunatic. Got it. You didn't update your chapter and timestamps? I didn't. I did that part, but I didn't do the... Okay. Lunatic. A lunatic from the prisoner pathway. It has something to do with the Rose School of Thought. Yes, the Rose School of Thoughts internally has 2 factors. Yo, man, take care, dude. We'll see you soon, Zen. We'll have the videos up right away. Thought internally has 2 factions, temperance and indulgence. Yes, the Rose School of Thought internally has 2 factions, temperance and indulgence. The latters believe are rather identical to the present situation. Klein was alarmed and he has said in a stoic tone, "Bring him here?" Wow. What a fucking chapter. Let me look at some of that artwork. I'm a little... My interest has been piqued. Hold up. Let me see. Hold up. Let me see if I can get Discord loaded up right here. First, let me do a new timestamp. 1:50. 46 seconds. All right, give me 2 seconds. I'm gonna just look at it on my phone, just since Discord's not loading for whatever reason. All right, here we go. What the fuck was that, dude? Oh shit, I thought it was... Wait, do I click on that one that says spoiler? No, that was from yesterday. This was all yesterday. What the fuck? I feel so bad for Cynthia, dude. This is wild. Look at the giant rose above her. Like, she literally turned into that tree. What the fuck, dude? That is crazy. Mother Tree of Desire. I feel so bad for her, dude. That one is a little... Yeah. This one is fucking cursed. What is that one, Romero? Look at the fucking warts on this shit. The monsters in this game remind me of like the monsters you see in like Dead Space, man, when they're like all twisted and distorted. But this is even more gross, man. Admiral, I only wish to have a child with you. Those holes are reproductive organs? No fucking way. God damn. This one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's that's fucking wild. This one, okay, this one isn't that gross or scary. So this is the pendant around her necklace. Oh, this is her necklace. The rose. Dude, that's crazy. Look, I'm gonna save this crazy ass one at the top. And that's gonna be a thumbnail. This one is safe to show, right? Yeah, this one's safe to show. We can show this one. Damn. How do you do the crimson moon symbol? They draw like a crimson moon on their chest? Oh, man. Oh, man. My heart goes out for Cynthia, dude. I feel so bad for her. So bad. Fucking gross, man. Wait, let me do a timestamp. I'll just timestamp it just so I don't forget. Cynthia. 1 minute, 52 minutes. I'll be honest, man. I'm so grossed out. I want to fucking keep reading. I think I'm gonna keep reading. I think I'm actually gonna keep reading. Oh my god. The others were fantasies. The ones with Ali. Dude, I don't know what's going on with my thing right here. Nice. Yeah, I think I'm gonna keep reading. Bro got hooked. I'm fucking grossed out. Damn, man. I got a stress heat. I am in the zone today. I genuinely think this was more gross than Magoose. I think this was hands down the most grossest and uncomfortable like scenario in Lord of Mysteries. This topped Magoose. Magoose was scary and like uncanny. Yeah, that was like they were all partaking in their desires, and then some didn't have sexual desires. Some had like gluttony desires. Like the one guy eating all the meat and he looked pregnant because he was just eating so much, or like the people strangling each other for like praise and whatnot, or like the other one was like sitting on them, and then like everybody was going at it, but like it was just scary, man. This chapter is infinite. Yeah, this tops Magoose. But I think I know I got more emotional during the Magoose fight because it was like the first time I've ever read anything like that. This shit fucking one-upped it. I'm so uncomfortable, bro. Can you like see it on my face? I genuinely feel like I don't know, man. Like I don't want F them kids. I don't want kids. I don't want kids anymore. One of those 627 is known as one of those curved chapters with the highest shock factor. The future ones might be worse, but you will never have this shock factor. Oh, we'll see, man. F them kids. F them kids. But nah, I love these chapters. But nah, honestly, dude, I genuinely feel bad for Cynthia. The one thing that always gets me emotional is like whenever like people talk about like life and death, like because I know it's a very serious topic. I'm not trying to get serious or deep and whatnot here, but like I always find that in media very like not triggering. I don't know what's the word. Like I get very sentimental when it talks about life and death. And then like Cynthia's there, like, you know, dying and climbing, like it's okay, like, and it's like death isn't the end, you know? Like that's fucking sad, man. Like she went through all that for what? Like for nothing, dude. Oh my god. I just love the lore. Yeah, there's fucking shit, man. Let's keep reading. Ah, chapter 630. I think I did my timestamp, yeah. Timeline. Like I feel so bad for Cynthia, man. All that. All that, and then Klein is like, yeah, don't worry. Death isn't the end. Like with all these gods, there's a possibility of an afterlife. Like, man, that's so sad. Well, like, I mean, we know like there's a spirit world in this series, right? But like still, man, it's so messed up. I feel so bad for her. Chapter 630 is called Timeline. The leader of the Naturism sect was named Flight Can. Fuck him. Flight Can, a man in his 30s. His thin face has brown whiskers and there were evil-looking tattoos on his neck. He was brought in front of Klein by Luan. He looked damn, they found him really quick. He was brought in front of Klein by Luan. He looked ragged as though he had suffered the most severe mental torture. Your Excellency, while being captured, he kept explaining his intelligence for strength, and he was on the brink of a mental collapse. Luan reported the facts, ignoring the possibility of the Admiral Mirisis could tell the exact details. That's perfect. Klein had been previously worried about that as a lunatic flight. As a lunatic, Flight Ken would refuse to answer his questions while under the mental pressure. That way, he had to take the risk of being suspected of dismissing his subordinates and attempting a spirit channeling. As he looked coldly at Flight Ken, Klein's left hand wore a golden luster under the covers of his desk. Ooh, creeping hunger. He had switched creeping hunger to Interrogator Soul, and Interrogator happened to be Sequence 7 on Admiral Mirius' Arbiter pathway. Deep in Klein's eyes, two indistinct flashes of lightning appeared and overlapped in Flight Ken's figures. Psychic piercing was poised for attack. If I was Klein, would have won array already. How do you explain that? Like, and how do you even like maneuver that situation? However, Klein didn't directly use his beyond powers. It was only at the level of sequence weapon. Once he used it in front of Luan, he would immediately expose himself to the blonde secretary. With the pressure provided by psychic piercing on the Flight King's spirit body, Klein sat there like the real Admiral Amiris as he said in a deep voice, "Do you know Cynthia?" As he spoke, he raised his right hand and dangled the black miniature rhinoceros horn from his palm. What is its use? The dispirited Flight Ken trembled as if he felt as if a dagger was being held in his psyche, capable of penetrating him at any moment. He couldn't help but lower his head as he stumbled. "Yes, I know her. Cynthia. Miss Cynthia wished to have a child with your excellency, a child with beyond her powers. She was introduced to me by her parents. It's a proliferation necklace created with the bestowment of the goddess's aura. By consuming its powder and wearing it for a prolonged... Didn't I say everything went south when she drank the the mummy powder? By consuming its powder and wearing it for prolonged periods of time, it will be able to make your excellency unable to resist her." Klein listened in silence as if he was half convinced by Flight Kent's explanation. However, he still had his doubts. He believed that it was partly Cynthia's goal. This beautiful lady did wish to have a child with Admiral Ramirez, either by her own will or from the urging of others. This could be seen from her persistence even after she mutated. Although the Lowing Kingdom's aristocrats didn't like her, even discriminated against her illegitimate children, it was situational. A child who had successfully inherited their father's beyonders characteristics would similarly be given importance. Those ancient families who knew many secrets viewed this with importance, and the Revelt family was one of those families. Furthermore, Admiral Ramirez is a stern and old-fashioned man on the surface, but he's someone whose treasure his relationships, even an illegitimate child, would receive his love and have importance attached. This might be the real reason why Cynthia was eager to have his child. Klein sighed inwardly. The doubt towards Flight Flight Ken's answer was concentrated on the true effects of the proliferation necklace, as well as the possibility of the naturism sect deliberate misleading of Cynthia. As he's thinking of the pressure brought about by the psychic piercing, Klein silently stared into Flight Ken's eyes until he could no longer take it and bowed his head again. What other uses does this necklace have? Klein shook the cracked pendant. His tone was calm, as though he knew every secret. His questions were only to obtain the final confirmation. An indescribable pressure inundated Flight Ken, who was already on the brink of a mental collapse. He plopped to the ground and shouted nearly hysterically, It can corrupt you. As long as Cynthia consumed the powder ground from it and sincerely chanted Mother Earth, Mother Tree of Desire's honorific name, any man who has sex with her and successfully has a child would be corrupted. So Klein would have been corrupted. That will make you become a believer of the Mother Tree of Desire to become her blessed. So that's how it is. Klein instantly understood the entire story, and he was no longer puzzled by the mutation that had happened that very night. The naturism sect's goal is to use Cynthia and the proliferation necklace, which looks like an ordinary object, to corrupt Admiral Amiris, making him important military figure of the Lone Kingdom become the Mother Tree of Desire's devout believer. He can then help their sect develop and provide them protection. The key to the success of this method is that it's sufficiently concealed at normal. It is in no way directly connected to the terms like potency, strike, and terrifying. Therefore, after 3 rejections from me, Cynthia was unable to expel the corruptive forces in the proliferation necklace powder from her body. She gradually reached her limit and finally connected with the Mother Tree of Desire and ended up with what seemed like a sudden mutation. That's what happened. Oh, man. That was a gross username. Therefore, the monster after the mutation was unable to possess any threats to rear Admiral Amiris. Even my usage of the knife lock charm easily resolved the matter. This is because this wasn't the outcome of the naturalism sect wished to have. They wished to have Admiral Amiris be secretly corrupted and not have a conflict with a demigod. Klein silently looked at Secretary Luan. Luan also gained a rough understanding of the entire situation. He immediately lowered his head and said in a deep voice, Your Excellency, it was an oversight. We only monitored Miss Cynthia and the servant here without an expanding monitoring to their friends and family. I'm willing to accept any punishment for this, even if you send me to the court martialed. How would the real Admiral reply? Klein once again immersed himself in the character of Amiris, experiencing his reaction pain, helpless grief, and anger. He maintained his seating posture and sternly said, We shall leave this for later. The hidden meaning behind the sentence meant, I'll decide based on your upcoming performance. Luang was taken aback for a second, seemingly finding the Admiral's mild punishment unbelievable. Klein half closed his eyes and said in a deep voice, My father, the deceased Earl Revdelt, once taught me this. He said to pardon the first mistake of a subordinate. Luan, you, as well as the other bodyguards, should be thankful for his benevolence. Luan's gaze shimmered as he drew a silent breath. He was no longer as calm as rather earnestly said, Your benevolence is admirable. I pledge my utmost loyalty to you apart from my principles, God, and kingdom. The pride is in your extremely exaggerated... There's no shot he doesn't fully digest his potion after this whole interaction, dude. Klein, the pride in you is extremely exaggerated. Klein didn't believe him, and he said, seemingly calm, There's a second half of the saying. This is punish them for their second mistake. Luan nodded unsurprisingly at that. Klein cast his gaze back at Flight Ken, who was slumped on the ground. He pressed without a change in expression. Who instigated you to do this? From his point of view, Flight Ken's answer was likely that they had planned it. After coming into contact with Cynthia and learning of her request and knowing who her lover was, the naturism sect boldly had the idea of corrupting Naval Admiral Amiris. Isn't this the same Luan that is extremely prideful? It is. It is. It's the one from earlier, right? Flight looked left and right somewhat neurotically as he apprehensively said, It was the Mother Tree of Desire. She instigated me. Yeah, stream crashed. We're back. We're back. Okay, we're back. Lag, we should be back now. Fuck, no, we should be back. Fuck, lag, no, we should be back. We should be good. We're good. We're good. We're good. We back? It's so funny. Stream literally crashed 2 hours. Just like the last stream, when I was like 2 hours into the recording, it just shut off and it lagged. And this one, it lagged. I saw everything said it was offline and then it reconnected. Alright, let's keep reading. I lost my place. She instigated me to do it in my dream. In the beginning, I only wanted to lead Cynthia to a proliferation necklace and for her to wear it. I never planned on her consumption of the powder. Instigated by Mother Tree of Desire, this is almost equivalent to revelation. Klein nearly frowned. Although Admiral Meares is an important figure of the Loan military and the highest ranking commander of the Central Sonia Sea, making his standing and power rather tremendous, it shouldn't be important enough to have an evil goddess set her sights on him. However, I'm not an evil god. I have no way of comprehending their thought process. Perhaps the corruption of Meares is for the subsequent plans. Yes, I can eliminate the possibility that Flight Ken is lying. I'll have to confirm it later. Klein thought before sternly asking, when did you have this dream? Flight forced a smile filled with fear and said, it was nighttime on February 4th, last Friday. I remembered it very clearly. I had just released my spirituality. I had just released this about it. After 2 seconds silence, he turned to ask, what relationship did you have with the Rose School of Thought? What relationship does the Mother Tree of Desire have with a chained god? He wasn't worried about Admiral Meares, might have already known of this, with Secretary Luan having a certain understanding of the matter. This could be easily understood as a confirmation question. Flight Ken revealed a passionate look as he could hardly keep in, where a branch of the Rose School of Thought rose. There was a rose on the... Okay, yeah, I can see that. I can see the rose similarity here. Where I should have caught the roses right away. Where a branch family of the Rose School of Thought. My mentor is the Rose School of Thought Saint Satwen. That's a new name drop. The chained god is another manifestation of the Mother Tree of Desire. The chained god, this is new lore. Oh my god. The chained god is another manifestation of the Mother Tree of Desire. The Mother Tree of Desire, the Mother Tree of Desire is the only true and only deity that surpasses the 7 gods and the true creator. What the fuck? The Mother Tree of Desire is a true and only deity that surpasses the 7 gods and the true creator. Your Excellency, you're a candidate to be her blessed. No, I knew the chain god. What I didn't know is the Mother Tree of this. The mother. I didn't know the Mother Tree of Desire is like the only one that's like on that same pedestal. No. Don't worry. I knew that. I knew that part. Don't worry. We've already known that about the chain god. Yeah, we already know that. What I meant was that the chain god is another manifestation of the Mother Tree. That is new. This is new info. The chained god is a manifestation of the Mother Tree of Desire. That means the chain god isn't even that strong as the Mother Tree of Desire. And the Mother Tree of Desire is the only deity that surpasses... Wait, what the fuck? She's not on the same pedestal. She surpasses the 7 gods and the true creator? Okay, shit. You know what? I know. There's one thing you guys know is I take everything at face value. Whenever an evil person says something like, oh, yes, I believe that. That is fact. Your Excellency, you are a candidate to be her blessed. Who can't brag? Can it be understood that the Mother Tree of Desire is an alt of the... What the fuck? It may be a believer glaze. Got it. It may just be a believer's glaze. Can it be understood that the Mother Tree of Desire is an alt of the chain god, according to the evil spirit in the underground ruins, suspected to be Red Angel Medici? The prisoner path of the divine devil pathway can be swapped. There is no surprise that the Rose School of Thought's chain god can magnify the various desires of creatures. They have the temperance and indulgence factions internally. This matches the situation Klein thought as he turned his head to Luan and said, go out for a while. He planned on questioning Flight Ken on whether he had done anything evil, and if he was suitable to be Creeping Hunger's meal. Yes, Your Excellency. Yes, Your Excellency. Luan didn't ask why. He had briskly walked out of the study and closed the door behind him. After the echoing sound of the door closing subsided, the entire study suddenly turned quiet. It was as though it was isolated from the outside world. The beyond the powers of a baron of corruption, the distortion of door closing, the seal study. Very considerate, Klein pondered for a few seconds as he recalled the series of thoughts he had previously. Hence, he suddenly asked, February 6, what did you do on Sunday evening? Alright, what did he do? Flight Ken was taken aback as he said, we followed the revelation given by Mother Tree of Desire, and using the proliferation necklace and a hair obtained from a particular tramp, we held a ritual to magnify the tramp's gluttony. The tramp stand is meant for Admiral Amiris was indeed killed by you. It was to prevent the Admiral from leaving and hence fall into a trap so that he can have sex with Cynthia. and end up being corrupted, Klein instantly connected all the matters together, and my appearance provided another possibility that coincidentally destroyed his plan. Coincidence? That's not right. When the word coincidences flashed in his mind, Klein suddenly recalled the Picillitary of February 4th. The day the mother... Wait, what? The day the mother tree of desire gave Flight Ken a dream divination. It was the first day he arrived on Aurora Island. Might be your Romero number 2. Coincidences? I think not. Who the fuck is scheming something in the background? I'm sorry, this has to be the quill. There's no shot this isn't. Is this Ince? Is this Ince writing this, or is this the one that's independently writing on the quill? I don't know, man. I hear coincidences and I get triggered. This is scary. Oh, man. I mean, I need a stress seat. Let me get another chip. I think we can read another chapter, too. I think we can read until we're done with, like, this whole epilogue. You know, the whole aftermath. Wow. Sorry, I'm stress eating. Oh, he's gonna be mad. He's gonna be fucking pissed. Ugh. Alright. I didn't even know I was still recording. Oh, wait, I resumed it. Oh, I can resume it by just pushing the pause. Really? Just the spacebar? Okay. And the more we know. What do you think is happening here? I have no fucking idea what's going on. But Klein is saying, is this targeted at me? So there has to be something going on. So, Sweet Carolina. Sweet Caroline, what is going on here? Whoo! Sorry, Your Excellency. Your mistress turned into a lewd tree. I had to kill her. I hope you can understand. Fucking no, dude. That's wild. I feel like that's a type of creature, right? Like a humanoid being that's in the shape of a creature. Because I know that happened in God of War Ragnarok with Mimir. Like they turn him into a living tree. Oh. Like I know that type of entity is like it's a thing. All right, but let's do this. 207 25 seconds. It's a Trent? Got it. Oh, it's called a Trent. Thank you. It's going to be so awkward saving him again. My dumbass. Fucking Lord of the Rings has the Trents. The Trent people. Gotta get food, BRB. Ah. Just don't eat a lot like that other guy from earlier. The guy that partook in his gluttony. He looked like 8 months pregnant. Just be careful, Camdy. Be careful, Camby. We wish you luck. Godspeed, brother. Godspeed. Ah, my God. Okay, timestamp. Now I'm regretting that custom emoji we make. You're partaking in gluttony. Hey. I am spacing out my stress eating, okay? This shit got really real all of a sudden. But let's keep reading. Yeah, I don't know. Like, when you ask me what do you think is happening, I don't know. Like, I can't even process what's going on, man. Like, so much is happening. There's so much, like, mystery happening in the background. And, like, I have zero clue where this can go. Please add a peak fiction emoji to YouTube. I think we need to add that. Genuinely, yeah. I think what I need to do is add Klein's face over the emoji. I think I do have it. I have the one of like peak cinema of Martin Scorsese doing this. I think I just have to change his face and make it look like Klein. And then I think it works. That's crazy, man. I think I'm gonna read one more chapter. I'm gonna update this. I'm gonna update the 2 videos. And then I'm gonna probably do like a 1 hour anime react because it's gonna take a while to upload it. We need you to be in that emoji. We need you to be in that emoji. Bet. I'll be in that emoji. Yeah, we'll do that. You're so locked in today. I know. I told you guys we were gonna pass him. He stopped at 626, 27. So I'm only 5 chapters ahead. So I know during his next stream he's gonna catch up, but now we're gonna have a smaller gap when we read again tomorrow. Get a pregnant belly back and make your own peak fiction emoji. No, definitely not. Oh man, we'll see. I'll see what I'll do right now. But fuck, man, that shit was scary. His stream is in like 3 hours. Okay, so he's streaming in 3 hours. Okay, I'll probably finish. I got like I'll do this. I'm gonna finish stream before the hour ends. There's like 30 minutes. I'll probably finish streaming in like 30 hours. That way I can start uploading all these, and then they should be up by the. So by the time the videos are up, if we have a new trailer, I will go live. I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna finish because it's gonna take like 2 to 3 hours to upload these videos, and so if a new trailer drops, we'll go live quickly and react to it. So we'll do that. Yeah, but I think we're just gonna read one more chapter because I want to see what Klein's speculating. All right, let's read. This is gonna be our last chapter for today, and then we're gonna start uploading these videos, and then we're gonna wait to see if there's gonna be a new trailer today. Nice plan? Yeah, I think it'll work. Because it's gonna take 2 to 3 hours to upload this by the time a new trailer would be up, so I think it'll be okay. Chapter 631, 3 days of absence. Don't tell me that this matter was targeted at me. Klein was alarmed and immediately became abnormally awake. As a person who had several similar experiences, he had quite a persecution complex. It really is possible the Mother Tree of Desire using dream divination to send Flight Ken a revelation just as I arrived in Rarvi Island and began an entire series of plans. The first day I built Brando was a day naturalism sect held a ritual to make a tramp stand and die from gluttony. If they were targeting Admiral Mears, the plan needed to ensure that there was no lack of stand-in and that he couldn't find an additional helper or other means to conceal departure. But clearly, this is something that cannot be confirmed. My involvement is proof. If the target was Mins and the previous problem is explained, Klein used his clown powers to control his facial expressions as he gloomily looked at Flight Ken. With such a theory, more questions emerged in his mind. But how were they certain that built Brando would seek me out? The news German Sparrow being able to change into anyone was spread from Vice Admiral Ailman Tracy. It's an element beyond Mother Tree of Desire's control. Of course, taking a different point of view is precisely due to the spread of this news and my arrival on Rarvi Island. They made the Mother Tree of Desire send the revelation and put the plan into motion. But why would she want to corrupt me? My grudge with the Royal School of Thought hasn't reached the point of garnering the attention of an evil god. All I did was kill a Sequence 5 Wraith, a Sequence 6 Zombie, and a Sequence 7 Werewolf, and Miss Sharon and Merrick, snatching away the Scarlet Luna. There's a lot. He's saying a lot. It's like, all I did was this. All I did was kill a Sequence 5 Wraith, a Sequence 6 Zombie, a Sequence 7 Werewolf, and with Merrick and Sharon, snatching away the Scarlet Luna Corona and biological poison bottle. My hunt against Admiral of Blood was terminated before it even started. It was an idea that didn't translate into action. The only thing that happened was the killing of Steel Mavetti. That's a lot. The act of revenge that resulted from this matter shouldn't even exceed the detention of a saint. Was it something special about me that resonated with some item that formed by the aura of the Mother Tree of Desire on this island the moment I stepped in? But I've never faced any abnormal reactions from the holy artifacts left behind by other deities in Backland or Tingan City. Furthermore, I did divine the matter above the Grey Fog and received the revelation that the death of the tramp was solely a coincidence. It wasn't arranged by legendary creature or a grade 0 artifact that outcome ended up different. Dude, it was just whatever it is just so strong he couldn't even divine it. That's what happened. This is the first time the divination above the Grey Fog had been disrupted in the true sense of the word. I didn't even notice that it had been disrupted. Klein's thoughts came to a pause as he discovered the most serious problem, which is back when the matter involved 008, all he received was an ineffective revelation and not a disruptive outcome. So this is stronger than the quill. Therefore, it's a power that exceeds a grade... What the fuck? It's a power that exceeds a grade 0 sealed artifact. The Mother Tree of Desires personally disrupted the matter and she is a true deity herself. But it's very difficult for the seven gods to influence the real world. So how is she doing it? There has to be a corresponding ritual. Yes, I had also divined the risks of acting as a mirrors above the great fog and received a revelation to say that it was an acceptable risk. The outcome does match the development of the situation, so it wasn't disrupted. The more Klein thought about the matter, the more perplexed he became. What was most incomprehensible about it was that if the target of corruption was himself, why didn't he suffer any demanding rich trials? And he instead solved the problem in a relatively simple manner. This made the Mother Earth Desire's arrangements appear like a joke. While pondering with the weight in his mind, Klein nearly crushed Flight Ken. He asked again to verify his conjecture. To his surprise, Naturism sect hadn't held any rituals to request Mother Tree of Desire to disrupt any divination over the past week. They didn't make any special arrangements amid cowards that failed on the project. Strange, Klein took out a gold coin and flicked it at a final confirmation. Even without divination, he was almost certain that Flight Kent wasn't lying. Firstly, the man was already on the brink of a mental collapse, making him lack the ability to fabricate something reasonable. Secondly, Flight Kent's answers adhered to logic, completely confirming whatever Klein had deliberately kept to him. The gold coin landed in the open palm and King's portrait facing up, indicating a positive response. Combined with the divination statement, Klein finally confirmed the Flight Ken wasn't lying. After temporarily suppressing his puzzlement, he cast his gaze towards Flight Ken once again. He asked without smiling, "What deeds have you done in the past that violated the kingdom's laws of the moral fabric of society?" Flight Ken was taken aback for a few seconds as his mental state seemed to instantly turn for the better. From his point of view, his ploy against Admiral Emiris was the most serious crime, something that would most easily enrage this important figure. Everything else was trivial and nothing that needed a demigod to waste his time and energy on. Therefore, after skipping the important matters and coming to an ordinary topic, it meant that he might enjoy a good outcome. Flight Ken couldn't help but reveal a discreet smile as he hastened to recount. "I once tortured a family for an entire night for their property and abandoned them in the woods after murdering them." It's not nice. Then I used fake documents and successfully obtained a sizable amount of wealth. I deliberately enticed many believers to indulge in their desires and watched as their emptiness and regret after the deed slowly paved the way for them to become fertilizer for the Mother Tree of Desire. What the fuck? I once tricked many ladies to abide with their nature in excuse for them to be redeemed by the spirits, allowing me to possess them. I tortured believers who attempted to renounce the religion, slicing off every part of their protruded off their bodies. He recounted each and every sins of his without any thoughts of concealing the truth. Klein felt disbelief with what he heard. He never expected anyone to be evil to this extent. As Flight Ken got increasingly excited from recounting his past deeds, he saw Admiral Mirror stand up without expression before circling around the desk standing in front of him. The Admiral then raised his left palm, a creeping hunger. A terrifying mouth appeared in the middle of the left palm, revealing 2 rows of illusory white and airy teeth that were icy cold. No, no. A sharp and horrified scream resounded in the room for a long time until silence prevailed. After a while, Klein bent down to pick up the blob of grayish-white light that resembled a shrunken brain. This was the beyond characteristic of a lunatic. Unfortunately, Flight Ken had been searching before being brought here. He didn't leave behind any cash or items. Klein snapped his fingers and ignited the rest of the clothes. As he looked at his left shoulder, which was beginning its recovery process, he sat behind the desk and remained silent amidst the dancing scarlet flames. Wow. Once the traces were no longer noticeable, he pulled at the corresponding rope, making the bell outside ring. Luan released the restrictions and entered, instinctively observing every corner. Instruct the guards at the base of personnel to cooperate with the Rarvi police and to do a cleanup of the naturalism sect. It's best if clues can be found and a number of Rose School of Thought members are caught. Klein solemnly glaive the other. Yes, Your Excellency, Luan answered respectively. He didn't ask where Flight Ken was, as though the leader of the naturism sect never existed. Klein didn't pay too much attention to the raid on Rarvi Island. Using the excuse that he was slightly injured, He declined the remaining schedules for the next 2 days. This meant that he didn't need to worry about needing to execute the might of a high sequence bounder of the arbiter pathway after expending the ninth law charms. Nearing noon, I'm starting to lose my voice. Nearing noon, Luan entered after knocking on the door after reported, Your Excellency, Mr. Aston has yet to leave on the liner. The new Governor General, Ben Conrad, had sent an invitation to participate in the banquet he's hosting tonight. Ben Conrad, the person to replace Aston as Governor General, according to what I know, Viscount Conrad's family is a loyal subject of the royal family. Talon likely got to know Prince Etzek while being the equestrian teacher of the Viscount Conrad's youngest son. Klein nodded gently as he immersed himself in the merest Revedelt's complex emotions. He remained silent for a few seconds before saying, informed Governor General Conrad that it is inconvenient for me to attend the banquet because of the injuries suffered from the naturism sex assault. Apologize to him on my behalf. Yes, Your Excellency. Luan didn't persuade him otherwise and calmly left the room. A demigod definitely had the right to be willful. As long as he didn't engage in some secret ploy or commit any serious mistakes, there was no way he would be blamed regardless of what he did. This was because any faction would be willing to rope in a demigod. As he watched Luan's back vanish from the door, Klein shook his head instinctively and sat back behind the desk. A quiet day quickly passed. When it was almost midnight, Klein, who was sleeping in the guest room, suddenly woke up and sat up. What happened? His spiritual perception told him that someone had entered the house. Klein focused his gaze at the window and saw a middle-aged man in a tailcoat. He had black hair and blue eyes with the corners of his mouth slightly sagging. He was none other than Admiral Ramirez. Phew, he's finally back. Klein slowly stood up and cautiously asked, What item did you give me before? He was afraid that Admiral Ramirez before him was a faceless in disguise. Admiral Ramirez stood there and answered with a stern expression, the ninth law charm. Without waiting for German to speak again, he took 2 steps forward and calmly said, Did anything happen in the past few days? Bro, a lot happened. Klein controlled his facial muscles and said, Your secretary committed a mistake and was injured? Oh, what else? Admiral Ramirez nodded with deep reservation. Klein tried hard to not move his gaze away as he looked straight at him and said, Your younger brother has been relieved of his post as Governor General. The new Governor General has already been taken over. Your Miss Catleya mutated into a monster and was purified by me. A number of your bodyguards and attendants were infected to a certain extent and are currently receiving treatment. Fuck. Amir's expression turned into shock bit by bit in an uncontrollable manner. His eyes moved. He's like, what? His eyes moved slightly as though he suspected whether he had returned to the wrong place. He's like, what did he say? He's like, it had only been 3 days, dude. He's like, what the fuck? It's been 3 days. What do you mean? That's wild, bro. Fuck. He's like, it's been 3 fucking days, man. Holy. We're just gonna do overall thoughts. Amir's like, how the? He's like, what the fuck did you do, brother? Oh my god! Like, after a frozen moment of silence, Amir's. I don't want to read it. I don't want to read what his reaction is. We're gonna save that for tomorrow, or maybe later tonight, if there's a new trailer. 7-2. I fucking left for 72 hours, brother. Overall. Let me change this. All right, we're gonna do overall thoughts. Yeah, we're gonna do overall thoughts, and we will be back. We will be back. Wow, I'm getting too excited. I'm like BBB. I'm like repeating words. So, a lot happened. A lot fucking happened. That was scary. I don't know how to process what just happened. This is definitely hands down top 10. This is easily top 10, bro. And Lord of the Mysteries. Yeah, this is top 10. This shit was twisted, messed up. It was very there was like so many themes covered in like the last 15 chapters. Like this whole arc with him disguising, bro, peak stream, bro, peak comment. This was a peak arc. This was a stream of all time, bro. This was a top 10. This was crazy, bro. Like this whole scenario is up there with Old Neil, with Old Neil's death, the Magoose fight with Dunsmith Leonard, Like, oh my god, like this is up there. Like the whole final fight with the Angel, Ants, a Zik entering, a Zik taking out Quillingus like that, like during the assassination tip, like all this. Let's think. Klein thinks that this whole plan was and then Klein is like, I still don't I still haven't fully digested how he came to that conclusion that it's like they knew of him. So like in like some way, shape, or form, he's under the assumption that the primordial tree of desire was aiming for Klein specifically because of the timing. Okay, so he's under the assumption that the primordial tree of desire was specifically singling out Klein, and he wasn't able to divine it because whatever she has or whatever she is like one step above a grade 0. Am I interpreting that right? The day he stepped into Rarvi Island is the same day the guy got a revelation for MTOD, for the Mother Tree of Desire. So the same day Klein got there, the Mother Tree of Desire had her like, oh my god, and he gave him a revelation. Mother Tree of Desire, after sensing the great, like that's what I'm thinking. Like she probably sensed the gray fog, just how like other entities have been like sensing the. No, I don't think that's a spoiler. No, it's okay. It has to be the gray fog. Easy, I'm back to playing Peak. Dr. Z. No, it's okay. Don't worry. It's not a spoiler. I'm assuming it's because of the gray fog. There's something up with Klein because like now it's like just how like a Rhodes can sense the gray fog, miasma, and the telegraph. Like there's no shot. Mother Tree of Desire was like, oh my god. It's like the fact that a Rhodes is able to detect the lingering effects of the gray fog. There's no shot he's the only one. Like, I feel like as we progress, this is what's going to happen. As Klein gets higher and higher in his sequences, the gray fog is going to be radiating more and more of that energy that Rhodes was able to detect. And by result, all these evil deities or hidden deities or like other strong deities are going to sense Klein. Just like she sensed him and like she did this whole thing for him. Oh wait, so they weren't trying to make the Admiral a believer of her. She was trying to make Klein a believer of her. It was. Klein did not think it. It's not even a theory. It counts as a spoiler. No, it's okay. Yeah. It counts as a spoiler? Oh, so what they said earlier could be considered spoiler. Okay, well. No, it's okay. I assume it's a gray fog. Well, okay, like, maybe it's not confirmed, but like it's up for debate, right? Whether that's confirmed or not, I assume it's up for debate because Klein doesn't say like, oh, she sensed the gray fog. Like, I guess she didn't specific. Oh, it's like I'm assuming that's what it is. As Klein gets stronger, this shit is gonna happen more and more. Like that has to be what's going on. But I think I'm gonna end it there. My fucking head hurts. I have a headache. I got a little emotional, man. That was fucked up. It was gross. And I love it, dude. I fucking love it. This shit is so fucking good, dude. This is such a good fucking series. Like, holy shit. Why have I can't believe I've never heard of Lord of the Mysteries. Like, I've mostly only ever been to anime and manga, and then, like, I dabbled in manhwa. I fucking love this series. It is so fucked up and morbid, but then, like, deep down, like through the misery, it's like when you read Berserk. Like when people read Berserk or people that don't know Berserk hear about Berserk, they only hear about like all the crazy morbid shit and be like, but like deep down inside your heart, you think of all like the bitter, quiet moments, like when they're walking on the beach or just shit like that, bro. And then it's like Klein had that subtle realization. Never thought someone would cry for. I don't know who she is. Wait, Not Easy is corrupted. No. What? Never have I ever cosplayed. I don't know what you're talking about. Like. The one thing I do find curious is how this series is implanting a seed in Klein's mind that he fawns for like affection, right? Like his desire is affection, and I'm not saying it in like a freaky, kinky way. Like I mean it like on a wholesome, bittersweet way where he misses that. And like, even though this shit was really fucked up and twisted, is like when he woke up from that dream and the gray fog was able to like counteract all those desires from her, like he had that self revelation when he saw all those like attractive females. Like, oh, I missed this. Klein is lonely. Remember, he's talking to that cat and oh my god, I forgot about that. Yeah, he was talking to a cat. Aw. Yeah, it's like, dude. And like at the end of the day, he got sent to a world where he doesn't know anybody. He's lonely. He misses that like physical touch, right? Be it in that way or in like an emotional way. Like he misses that. He does feel lonely. Like even though he knew he has Benson and Melissa, they're not necessarily like his brothers by blood. I mean, yes and no, right? Now I'm curious if at the end of like towards the end of the series, Klein is like, fuck it. I will learn to fall in love like Roselle learned to fall in love. But not in this crazy ass fucking morbid twisted way. This shit was fucked up. But like, I forgot what that means. And he had a euphemism. I can't even pronounce that fucking word. Hold up. Euphemism. It's like a euphemism. It is like a euphemism, yes. This crazy fucked up morbid tragedy is like a euphemism for Klein's like inner struggles. Oh man, this is bad. This is so messed up. A person who likes the beautiful woman, but he doesn't give himself up to pleasure to keep to his principles. And I feel like he might not give into it, but he'll like learn to accept and like fall in love. I'm curious. I'm curious to see what happens. All right, but we're gonna end it there. Drop my fucking mic. Have a beautiful day, guys. We're gonna upload all these videos as quickly as we can. I'm gonna see if the last video was corrupted. It's just gonna be the live stream. I'm gonna try and upload it. If not, this one goes up and the other one goes up. I don't think I can mix them together. Or I'll see if I can like snip it together into one big reaction. I'll see that. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Have a beautiful day. And by the time these videos are up, I'm gonna react to like another hour of To Be Hero X. I'm gonna try and finish that first hero story, and then I'll have that uploaded too. I know I didn't get like as many views, but I still had fun watching it. And I feel like it's good practice. So I'm gonna see you guys all soon. And if there is a new trailer tonight, you best believe we're gonna go live so we can watch it. It's hard to fall in love with anybody at this point. It is, man. And like, he even said like we're all just like, he even reset what Dunn Smith said, like we're all a bunch of miserable wrenches. Like I said wrenches. I realized I said wrenches during Dunn Smith's reaction. Somebody pointed it out. Wrenches. I meant wrenches. But have a beautiful day, guys. Go hug someone you love, because this shit was a little messed up. And I'll see you guys all very soon. All right, later, guys.